Good evening. Great to see everybody. Biggie Fitz is here. Brian Stewart's here. Sergio is here. I decided about an hour ago we'll do some live stuff tonight. Hopefully, we're going to be joined by Power Stroke Jude later on, and maybe Cass Nichols will jump on and join us. But the reason why I wanted to do this tonight was because Brian Stewart was in on a live stream that Cass Nichols hosts called Wide Right CFB. We do a college football thing every week, and we got in this conversation about some tool-related stuff, and I thought it might be interesting to do a live stream tonight. We got a lot to talk about. I got a bunch of tools I can show you because I just got some deliveries in on the on the heels of what Brian and I were talking about. I started doing more business with who used to be my secondary supplier, a company called Medco. I'm now making them my primary supplier, and who was my primary supplier, a company called ISN. I'm now moving into secondary status. All right, Jude. Just come on in whenever you're ready. And the reasons for that were because, well, I mean, I don't normally like airing dirty laundry, but I don't know if this counts as dirty laundry. It's simply the way businesses evolve. And what happened was, in this business, when you deal with a supplier like a distributor like I deal with, they give you a line of credit and you buy your stuff using their credit, and then you pay your balance, and it's just a revolving line. So you always have usually some debt, and as long as you pay a certain amount by a certain time, they just keep you rolling. And something happened a few years ago with the delivery of a toolbox that kind of ticked me off a little bit. When I purchased a Monster branded toolbox, if you guys remember the Monster brand, I know most of you do, and they had a surprisingly good price on it. What they didn't tell me was that at the time the Monster brand was going away, and they were kind of clearing this stuff out, and I didn't know it was on clearance. I thought that was a regular price because they never told me otherwise. Hey, Shannon, good to see you. And I ordered a toolbox for a customer, sold it to him at a great price, and then a bunch of guys asked me for toolboxes. So I had like 6 or 8 toolboxes lined up, ready to go. And one customer said, "Yeah, let's do the deal on the toolbox." I said, "Great." And I ordered the toolbox. It was delivered at the time by UPS Freight before UPS sold off their freight division. And the box was not tied down on the truck, and it came in, this fell over, and its side was destroyed. So I refused the shipment, and then I reordered it. And that's when my account rep said, "Yeah, we don't have those boxes anymore." That was literally the last one. I said, "Well, okay." I knew that Extreme Tools made that toolbox for the Monster brand. So I said, "Can you just sell me the equivalent Extreme box at the same price to cover the damaged shipment?" He said, "No." And that made me mad because I had a bunch of sales on the line here. And I want to say it was probably, $30,000 to $40,000 in sales. And they weren't willing to accommodate at least one of them. So that made me mad. And I sort of cooled off a little bit on that one, but kept doing business with them. And you fast forward now to about a month ago, we're looking to buy 4 AC recovery units because we just got awarded a bid for Capital Metro, which is a transit bus transportation. They're the transit bus. Well, I should say they're the mass transportation authority for the city of Austin. And they awarded us a bid to sell 4 AC recovery units to them. And that was a pretty nice score for me. So I'm just working out with my supplier, ISN, how to do that. And I said, we have a bank loan to cover the purchase. I said, so we've got the money. I just need to know when the units would ship. And they said, "We don't know. Robin here doesn't know because they're waiting on parts, and it's an indefinite back order." So I said, "Okay." I said, "But when the time comes, we pull the trigger." I said, "Can you just put the units under my name, invoice me for them, I'll pay you, you ship the units. Done." And they said, "No." "What we want is for you to pay the entirety of your account balance before we do that." And I said, "Why?" I said, "Can't we just handle this out of band there where we've got the money? separately from a bank loan that would just pay you for these AC units. And meanwhile, our regular trade account keeps rolling. They said, nope, you got to pay the whole thing if you want us to do that. And that really made me bad because they were strong arming us, and I will not be treated like that. So I did what any person would do when they're dealing with a tool guy they don't like. I paid the balance in full and said, we're done. So we're moving a lot of our orders now to a company called Medco, and ISN has now been relegated to our secondary supplier where there's a lower cost on something, or maybe they have an availability that Medco doesn't have. I will say this about ISN. Their inventory is very good, and they usually have stuff that Medco might have on back order. So we still be buying some stuff from them, but not like we used to. So that's all the goings on the business end of things for that. And Brian Stewart was saying earlier in the different live stream that Cass was hosting about buying some stuff from New Tool, and New is a distributor that deals to mobile guys like Brian and me, because he was having some issues, and I thought maybe it'd be interesting to have a part of a bigger conversation. So Brian, if you're interested at all, I did shoot you a link if you want to join. Jump on the stream and maybe we can talk about it in real time, or, you disclose, if you don't want to disclose much, I understand. But there's some interesting things going on between us tool guys right now. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk it out and compare notes and see, what we're all up against, and kind of get caught up in the state of the industry, because there's always something going on. So let me get caught up in the chat now that you guys are caught up. And Brian says he stopped ordering from Medco when they started charging for shipping. Yeah, their minimum's $500. And normally that's not too high. I wouldn't complain myself about a $500 minimum, because my minimum from ISN is $300. And that's, again, not a big deal. When we're cutting POs for, $2,000 at a time, it's not a big deal to have a $300, $500 order minimum. But when it's slow and you're splitting orders between two different suppliers, it can be hard to meet the minimum right away. And sometimes you got to give it a little time before you hit the minimum. So I get where you're coming from. Who else is on here? Shannon Dickinson, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Pat Paulson, always good and fun to see Pat. Brian says it's a nice sale on 4 AC machines. It was a really nice agreement. And of course, I can't do the sale, but Capital Metro gave me a purchase order that's open for a year. So I got a whole year to get these machines and get them to them. The surprising thing about landing that deal was that I was able to do it. I know they sent out bid requests to Napa, Grainger, and Snap-on. And I submitted a bid only because I heard about it through one of their AC techs. And all their techs at Capital Metro are customers of mine. I sell to them individually, but I have never sold to the agency before. So through a conversation with their AC techs, I had a conversation with a guy who put me in touch with this other guy that was soliciting bids, and I gave him a bid, and sure enough, they said, your price is better than anyone's. You could have knocked me over to know that I could get a better price in Grainger and Napa, because I'm a small-time operator and those guys are pretty big. So I think it goes to show, if I could sell those machines and still make a profit and undercut those guys who no doubt buy them for less than I do, they're probably putting quite a markup on them. So that kind of surprised me, but I was happy to do it. Yeah, you don't want to piss off the mothership, Brian. You don't. There's, you're in a situation there that's structured different than mine is, so you got to be careful. And Jason asked, why not cut through Mobile Tool Network? No reason not to, except their selection is far more limited than Medco or ISN. Those companies are huge. MTN is not nearly as large. And when I was comparing pricing, MTN isn't across the board cheaper. So I'd have to split already my purchases even more. So right now I'm split between two suppliers. I'd have to split them between a third supplier. Now my order minimums are getting more difficult to meet. And I don't know what it's like yet to deal with MTN what's it like to handle returns? What's their billing like? What's their, yeah, I don't know. I never really looked into it that much, although I do like what I hear about them, and I do have an account with them. Just haven't made any purchases yet. Chaka Gillis with $2. Thank you, Chaka. I appreciate that. Great to see you. Thanks for jumping on tonight. And Pat Paulson says he ordered a set of the USAG wrenches. We'll show them on the truck to see if they get any traction. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what your experience is there. Yeah, Brian just echoed what I said about MTN not having nearly as much as a selection as new Medco or ISN, and that is true. They're a much smaller company, but I like a lot of what I know about them, and I know people who do buy from them. In fact, Mark Desashin from Mid-Atlantic Tools buys a lot of stuff from them. So I do believe that they're doing a good job with a lot of guys. I don't know. It's one of those things where, when you can sit back and choose who you do business with, it's not necessarily, in this case, it's not that I'm choosing not to do it with MTN. It's just that I've been doing business with Medco for a long time, not at the volume I am now, but I have a relationship with an account rep already. I'm already familiar with their ordering and their billing and all the rest of that. So again, it's not necessarily a testimonial against MTN. It's just that, when you're already kind of doing something a certain way and you know what the pricing is. Yeah, Grainger is pricey, Jason. I was really surprised to find that as I shopped around a bunch of things and started looking stuff up on Grainger, I figured certainly they're selling under contracted arrangements for less than what they're posting on the website. Come to find that's not necessarily the case. Why I started ramping up my disposable nitrile glove business, and in so doing, I discovered that some shops are buying their gloves from Grainger. A box of 100 8 mil thick nitrile gloves they were buying from Grainger for $34 a box. And that's $4 higher than what I would normally sell one box for to a customer. Now, that was under my old glove arrangement. My new glove arrangement, my pricing is far, far less. But I was surprised what Grainger was charging. Pat, what brand of machines are they selling under now? Christian's back. Good to see you, Christian. Shannon says, as much business as you've done with ISN, it's pretty damn crappy what they did to you for sure. I'd have told them to pounce. Yeah, I was very disappointed that my 8-year-long relationship with them didn't mean more. And I don't know what the commission structure is for their account reps. I would guess it's in the 8%, the 10% neighborhood. And if that's the case, I put a lot of money in the pocket of my account reps there. My account rep, I should say. He's made a lot of money off of me in the past 8 years. And why you wouldn't want that to continue? It surprised me. And they didn't even change. I've had the same rep there I've had for 8 years. And that, so I figured we got a solid relationship there, but they've shown themselves to be surprisingly unwilling to bend. And that bothers me because we all do that for good customers. And I thought I was a good customer. Maybe I was fooling myself. I don't know. Brian says he gave a price to Dodge for an AC machine, and Dodge will only allow their machine, but has a 2-year back order. Ugh. That's an insane amount of time on back orders. And Pat says apparently Robin was dropping the service ball too many times and they needed service on the Oh, that's right, because they were rebranding. That's right. Now, did Robin Air service them, or did you have to go through like an independent local service company? Because as far as I know, there's an authorized service company in Austin that I would use if and when this Robin Air sale goes through to Capital Metro. That, as far as I know, that's the case. Maybe I'm mistaken. And Brian says that you do Molly. How have those been for you? I don't know anyone who owns one, but I've been pretty interested in getting some information on those because I've got access to them, but they don't make the ones that do the multi-refrigerant ones, which is the ones that Capital Metro needs. They need the ones that do the 407C refrigerant. And those are the only ones from Robinair. I don't know that anyone else that does that. Hey, famous Slick Rick. I'm so glad you're here. It's great to see you. Thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate that. Oh, and Polar Tech's the one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. I remember now. That came up in the conversation I had with the guys at Metro. Well, Brian, I'm glad you've got an amazing account rep. It's not difficult, I think, to be good at that job, but I dare say that some people maybe get complacent and maybe they take your business for granted. And as you know, anyone, Pat and Brian, and I'm not telling you something you don't know when I say we all have to earn our business every day. Every day we got to prove ourselves. And I think that's I hold my sales guys to the same standard if I'm a customer, Oh, and Snappy bought them last year. Okay, Pat, I get you. Yeah, he did. And you sold 3 134 machines with no issues. Good to know. Those are, they're good looking units. I like how sleek they are. And I just don't know anyone who owns them. And Pat says that Robinair was required by the contract to do the service in a set amount of time. Okay. But Snappy took it in-house. I get you. Your new tool rep calls you once a week. Well, that's somebody who cares and wants to maintain that relationship and stay in touch. I'm glad to hear that. I get some good email promos and stuff from. I don't want to bash ISN because they've been pretty good for a long time, and I do get really good promotional emails from them on a regular basis. They send out promotional text messages, and I'm glad to see that because they have a lot of those, like Milwaukee deals, for example, that don't make it into the flyer. So I'm glad to get those, but I do get those from Medco as well. And Pat says that Polar Tech was an independent Italian company. Okay. It all comes together, then I understand more. Thank you for explaining that. I appreciate it. Well, as promised, we have tools. Let's start with some simpler ones, and then we're gonna. No, you know what? While we're on the subject, anyway, I want to back up. I don't want to run over my dog. I can't unfold. Ow! I hurt myself. I can't unfold it because it's too big. That is one of those folding work platforms. It stands like 18, 19 inches high, and you stand on them if you want to get up into an engine compartment on a taller vehicle. I'm sure every shop has guys that own that, and a customer just ordered it from me. Okay, so he points it out to me in my flyer, and the flyer I had was my ISN flyer, so that's the K-Tool branded platform. So I order it from ISN, and it comes in beat to crap. The box is all torn apart. Holes are all in it. We take the platform out. It's dinged up. It's dented, and I'm not happy with it. So my wife's looking at it. She says, "You know what? I bet." She goes, "I bet they just repackaged the return and shipped it out again." And I'm thinking, I bet you're right. Yeah. So we basically told our rep, just give us a return label. We're sending it back, and we'll send it back to you in the box it came in. Now, meanwhile, I look at the equivalent ATD branded one from Medco, and guess what? I can buy the same one and save $20. I should have done that from the get-go, and I didn't. So that was my bad. But it always pays now to check every price against my other vendors to see who's got it for less. So I will return that to ISN, and they will give me a credit for it, and then I'm just going to buy the new one from Medco, save myself $20, and make another 20% on my sales margin to my customer. I mean, why wouldn't you? And preserving a relationship can be worth something, as we all know. And if you have a tool guy that you like, many people say, "Hey, it's worth pay the extra money because I like the guy and I want to keep him in business." Great. And I'm the same way with my vendors. If we have a great relationship, let's keep it rolling. But when that's not reciprocated, you got to start going with somebody else. So that's what we're doing. And Pat likes the Polartec units. Good to know. The only thing I ever heard anything bad about was a CPS unit, and it was a customer that had an older unit, and they said they didn't like it. He didn't go into specifics, but I've only ever heard good things about the quality of Molly and Robin Air, and now Pat with the Polartec units. Good to know. Oh, Brian, that is really a good benefit, that they'll actually train the shop guys on their machine. That is nice. Quick Wrench, what's up? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Yes, and please, everyone, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. I really do appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. And one thing I found out that YouTube has been doing lately is they've been going through different channels' lists of subscribers and culling that list. If people's accounts have been inactive for a while, or if they think the account wasn't legitimate, then they're knocking them off. And I was wondering what was going on, because for like 6 months, I noticed my subscriber rate was not growing at all compared to what it was doing. And when I found that out, I'm like, well, that makes sense. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. I sure would appreciate it. This is getting caught up in the chat. Yeah, for $11,000, you better get that training. I agree with you. And I know that Granger, for example, sells that 407C machine from Robin Air for $13,000. And I don't think training comes with that. All right. So that was tool number one, was the work platform that I'm not happy with. That's going back. We'll start off with the simple and get more complicated as we go. This is a 1/2-inch drive, 15-inch long chrome extension from Gear Wrench. I have a customer who is looking to keep a 1/2-inch socket and ratchet set in his truck. And he asked me for some recommendations. And as I was looking at some pricing and availability, the Milwaukee set was available. And I took a look at that and I said, hey, this is a pretty nice set. So he liked the price. And before I ordered it, I said, I'm going to check this price. And I compared the price from one vendor to the other for me. The customer's already happy with the price. So it doesn't matter to him what I pay for it, but I could save like another 15% if I bought it from Medco. So I did, and he got that. And to round out this set, because it doesn't come with a long extension, he wants this extension and also a 1/2-inch universal adapter. I don't know if that's in here or not. Ladies and gentlemen, hold the phone. We are joined by a man who is on the West Coast, which is the best coast, unless you're from the Gulf Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stream. Dude, hey, dude.
Hey, what's up, Lindsay? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Long time.
We got to stop meeting like this. Wait, this is the only way we meet.
I heard you talking about the work platform. I didn't actually get to see what that was. What was that?
That was it's really big, so I can't really fit the whole thing in. But I'm sure you've got them in your shoppers, guys.
Oh, gotcha. The
yeah,
stool.
they have the fold-out legs and the anti-skid top.
And what was wrong with that one?
It was all bashed up when it came in. The box was all torn apart, and this is dented, and there's these plastic end caps that were all wonky and chewed up.
Gotcha.
And when we went to, we're just like, what, we'll return it. And I was thinking, we'll just return it, reorder it, which isn't a problem. But then I'm like, let me compare the price to the one from my other vendor. And sure enough, they saved me $20 on it. Well, I'll save the $20.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. I mean, when I buy parts for vehicles, I try to get the best quality part for the cheapest price.
Always. I mean, that's the name of the game. And, I'm sure like I was telling talking about earlier, it's worth it to a degree to stay with guys who treat you right, and if that costs you a little bit more, sometimes that's worth it. But right now financially, it's crunch time for us because we're trying to juggle a huge increase in the glove business. So we're trying to juggle some more costs there. So it only makes sense for us to be a little more meticulous when it comes to shopping around.
Oh yeah, that makes absolute sense.
Oh, all right. Quiz time. It's in tape because it's broken in half. All right. This is a 2-part quiz. Number 1, what is it? It is broken, by the way. That's why that's like that. It sheared off and it broke in half. So what is it, and how much does it cost to replace it? Because it's not covered under warranty. It's 1 inch square. Make your guesses.
Well, I'm interested to see what the chat says. By the way, it's a tool thing. Shannon Dickinson.
Oh, I guess now's a good time to announce this. Man, we got to do this. I've been on a live stream in a while, and I got some news to share with you guys. What's in this brown bar of soap sized box? If you're thinking a bar of soap, you're right. It's no ordinary bar of soap. This is Coil Tools Man Cleaner.
Nice.
So I am now making myself pumice scrubbing soap. And I put an obscene amount of pumice in this stuff so you can really grind down your calluses. And if you got rough skin, this wipes it out. It works great in your elbows too. And it lathers up really well. So yeah, now we're producing our own scrubbing soap. And there's also a smooth version of this, which doesn't have pumice in it. It took a few months to get the recipe nailed. I put the first production batch on the truck. The first 2 batches on the truck last week, and they're gone. So I have to make more. So
very cool.
Yeah, I was really surprised. People like it way more than I thought they would. People care about the ingredients of soap more than I figured. And these are easy to make. There's only a few ingredients. And you know what they are. Unlike reading, ingredient list of a commercial bar of soap or even a liquid soap, a lot of ingredients to go in. You don't know what they're all doing. So,
my wife makes a cleaner out of I don't know what she uses. I think orange peels and or citrus peels. I think a little bit of white vinegar, and there's a couple things that she uses it for cleaning. She puts like a small capsules in with laundry, but it's an all natural thing. Makes the house smell good.
Yeah, I don't put a fragrance in this because fragrance oils are expensive, and I can sell right now. I'm selling bars for $5 a piece, or if you buy 5, you get 1 free. So keeps the price fairly reasonable for a handmade soap. I know. You can look at swankier soaps like that Dr. Squatch stuff is $13 for a bar.
Is that how much that costs? I see those advertised all the time, and I've always been interested in ordering one, but I've never pulled the trigger. I had no idea what they cost, though.
Yeah, $13 a bar.
I get this charcoal soap at the dollar store that seems to work all right.
Hey, if it works, it works. All right, let's get caught up in the chat. Oh, it's a tool thing. Says maybe I could stop selling the cheap Chinese Sonex wrenches. I'll tell you what. If people want to buy them, I'll sell them. Conversely, if people would like to buy Wright or SK, I will sell those too. I don't push a product on people. I always give a choice. If you would like to buy Sonex, I will sell you Sonex. If you would like to buy a U.S. made brand, I will sell you U.S. made brand. It doesn't matter to me. It's strictly what the customer wants to do. And if somebody sees a Sonex wrench set and they like the price and they like the quality, they're going to buy it. So it's not like I'm sitting there deciding what to sell. I will accommodate what my customers want.
I wasn't under the impression that people like Sunex.
I never had
a lot of people that say that they'll never go back, that that's what they like, that they like Sunex tools.
I've been very happy with how well received the brand is. Their impact sockets are excellent. I've never really heard anything bad about their wrenches. And when it comes to Sunex stuff, I think I mostly sell impact sockets and wrenches. So.
Yeah.
All right. Pat has a guess for this as an impact anvil. No, it's not.
That was going to be my first guess, but it seemed too obvious. That's why I haven't said. That's why I didn't say that. That's why I did not say that.
What's more surprising than what it is and how much it costs.
I'm going to see. Can I see that one more time?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry for the reflection from the tape. It's just holding the two halves
possibly together. And like a step up adapter?
No, because it's the same size.
Oh, it is the same size, huh?
Yeah, it's 1 inch square.
It's obviously, it looks like it's got to be for an impact. It's got the ball D10.
It looks like it.
No, man, I got to keep. Has anyone had any guesses in the?
Anyone else? No, not yet. Chaka wonders if uranium fuel for a nuclear reactor. No, although it really does look like one, but no, it's not. And Brian asks, how long does it take to make the soap? From when I get all the stuff out and I'm ready to go, the thing that takes the longest is measuring everything out. It's like baking. You're making a batter. In this case, it's a soap batter, and it's all science. So you have to make sure your measurements are correct and your ratios are right. But once you get your recipe down, you just got to measure your ingredients out and combine them in a certain order, because lye is an ingredient that is caustic. And when you combine it with water, there's a chemical reaction there that lets off a lot of heat. That's the lye water will heat up to about 190 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you have to reduce that to get it to the right temperature to mix with your oils. And when you do that, that's what's called saponification. And that's when all the science happens. And that's what actually makes soap. So once you make your batter, then you pour it into your form, and you give it 24 hours to cure to the point where you can cut it. And then you need to give it a few weeks after that to completely cure. But I noticed it's very usable within about 4 or 5 days after you pour it. So I package it up, and this will be on the truck 5 days from now when they'll be ready to use. It gets harder as it goes because it cures more. But actually making the recipe, I don't know, half hour maybe, getting all your equipment together and getting everything measured. But it can take, a week or so for it to cure and be, optimal for use. And Brian says that Sunex is a good, affordable option with a great warranty. That's the big selling points of the brand. There's well, it's a different conversation when you say show somebody a set of SK wrenches and a similar set of Sunex wrenches, and you say this Sunex wrench set's going to cost you $100, and this SK wrench set's going to cost you $350. One's made in the U.S. and one's not. You choose. It would be really nice if everyone could afford to say, "I'll take the SK," but they can't. And at some point, you're throwing good money after bad. So it's not always a question of just the country of origin when the quality is good enough for what you're using it for, and you can save yourself huge amounts of money. Again, it would be nice if you didn't have to worry about how much stuff costs, but we all do. So that's why I offer the Sunex stuff.
Years ago, I bought this toolkit. It's a bit set from Sunex. It comes like in a red aluminum case, maybe, with the clear glass top. It's got a little ratchet and extension, and probably about 30 bits in it. I think I paid $25 or $30 for it. It's probably about $45 now. But man, that set always sells. My buddy just bought a real, for all I know, it's the same set, just in a Mako case, but it's not a clear glass case. It looks like the same set to me, but he bought it from the Mako truck, and he spent like twice what I paid, or what they go for now. But man, it's that Sunnet kit. It's a nice kit. I use that thing all the time.
Yeah. Yep. Rad Dad BMX is here. Hey, it has been a long time. Thank you for joining us and hopping back on. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
He's not far from you guys. He's in Dallas, I think.
Okay, yeah. This is a few hours north. And Boxy says she makes her own cleaning products and laundry detergent much cheaper, and they work well. It's so much cheaper, especially when you start buying the materials in larger quantities. When we started experimenting with soap recipes, we were buying just small enough quantities that we could work with and experiment. But now that we got a recipe down and we know that we can sell it, we've been buying, 5 gallons worth of oil at a time, and the price goes way down. And we can buy the pumice for the scrubbing soap in a much higher quantity. That price goes down. So the more we can do to reduce our costs, at $5 a bar, that's a perfectly reasonable price. Most people are happy to pay that. We're just increasing our profit margin. And Pat makes a great beverage out of rubbing alcohol, lemons, and Gold Bond. That sounds delicious. Don't try that at home, kids.
Is it called Pruno? But look at you go, man. You're doing tools, obviously. You've got the after dark stuff that I will not.
Yeah, I got some here tonight.
You might want to keep that going. This stream up. Gloves, soap. Man, that's awesome, man.
Just diversifying some business interests, and I think that only works, in your favor. Soap is not going to be big money, but I can sell this bar for $5, and that means every time I make a batch of 13 bars out of a batch, that's $65 for an hour's worth of work. And just selling a product, and the profit margin is pretty good now that we're reducing our cost by buying in larger quantities. So yeah, it's a little extra money. It gives people a reason to come back on the truck, and my feedback on the stuff has been very, very good so far. People loving the gloves, they love the soap. It's nice to feel like you struck gold there and hit a vein,
Raven, not Ravens, Oakley's. Don't you sell Oakley's?
I was up until recently when one of my firearms distributors sold Oakley, and then for some reason now they don't, so I can't get them anymore. But I'll have to keep looking around and see if I can find them from a supplier. Oh, Biggie Fitz warns not to do Dr. Squatch. Uh-oh.
Quick Ranch says he still says it looks like a flare tool part. I guess he's stuck. I guess he had a comment earlier. We must have missed it. Brian Stewart said it looks like a paperweight. and Cass said, "Can you please show it again?"
Yeah, there you go. So it's 1 inch square. It's a little reflective because I have it wrapped in Scotch tape because it broke in half. There's the bottom. You can tell it's sheared off. So the question is a 2-part. What is it and how much does it cost to get it replaced?
Being that the cost was added to it, I'm going to say it's expensive. So I don't know. That means I'm also going to say it's not a hand tool if it's not warranted. Got to keep thinking here. Got to put the puzzle together.
I learned a lot about it actually yesterday. To find out all that I know about it, I had to make 1, 2, 3, 4 phone calls to speak to 4 different companies to get all the information. Yeah. Flare tool
Just
part.
stop playing with your Stonehenge
nativities.
nativity.
Brian says I'm going to make hand and surface wipes next. He sees me in the garage in a hazmat suit and all the science beakers looking like a meth lab. Looking like a meth lab? What do you think I do on the side?
So how many people we got in the chat and how many thumbs up we got? Come on, everybody, hit that thumbs up, man.
We got 28 people watching.
Oh, that's a great crowd. Where were you guys 3 hours ago?
For late at night on a Saturday.
Oh, maybe we should do the white right stream at 11 o'clock at night.
We'll divide up the pie. Okay, topic change. Let's talk college football. FBI raiding video coming soon. Body-worn cameras galore. Right, you guys think on this still. And in the meantime, we're going to hit the After Dark stuff right away because I know how popular that stuff is.
Now, I don't know why Joey cannot put this in the chat, but he sent me a message on a text message and said, tell him to make boot cleaner for the boots that you sell. Come on, Joey. If you're texting me, you can put it in the chat, dude.
Joey really confuses me.
move the algorithm, Joey. Come on.
I mean, if he's sitting there typing a message.
It actually takes longer because I'm assuming he's probably on his phone and he has to leave the chat to text me, then to come back to the chat to hear me talking about him telling me to text.
All right, everyone. Here's the After Dark portion. From Sig Sauer, the P320X5. It's the Legion. Pretty cool sights on it. I don't know if you can see.
Oh, yeah. Love the color.
The front sight shows up really good. Cool ported slide in the top. This thing is a full-sized pistol. I normally like Sig Sauer because their grips are so darn comfortable. I have to say that for my hand, this one's a bit of an exception. It's a little bit large for me, and I can't quite fit it comfortably in the web of my hand. And it has a straight trigger, which feels funny to me because normally I'm more used to a curved trigger, but it still fits, but it just doesn't feel as comfortable as, say, the 365 does or their non-Legion versions of their 320. The cool bit of this is the slide spring is really light. I mean, it is no problem at all to rack this.
Just watching you do it with the grip you had, you can tell it's easy.
Jude, I have never felt a slide that light, and I love it because of that. It comes with three 17-round magazines, and it's just it's Sig Sauer, and they have great quality stuff. Easy to disassemble and put back together again. This one's chambered in 9mm. The story behind this is I had a customer who I haven't seen this guy in years, and he moved away, not far from where I am, but away. And out of the blue, he sends me a text last week and says, "Hey, man, you still selling guns?" I said, "Yeah, what are you looking for?" And he told me he's looking for this one. He says, "I can't find it anywhere in this configuration, just the California compliant versions which ship with magazines that are 10-round capacity." So I looked it up, and I had the one that he's looking for available to me through one of my distributors. And he says, "Yeah, I want that one." I'm like, "All right, I'll get it for you." He says, "How long does it take to come in?" I said, "About a week, give or take. Depends on. I'm never going to promise shipping times, but usually it's about a week." And I think he gave it 2 days before he started texting me every day. Hey man, is the gun in yet? Is the gun in yet? Is the gun in yet?
About a week.
So this guy is raring to go.
I said a week, not a weekend.
And it just came in today, and it's a holiday weekend, and I'm like, so I'll let him know it came in, but we'll probably schedule time for him to come pick it up next week. But he was just so hot to go on this thing, and it's a cool looking gun. It's big. I mean, you're not going to be sticking this in your pants, but it's a good looking gun. Sig Sauer's quality is so good. It has a beautiful stippling on the grip right there, so you get a nice, sure grip on it. And it is very well balanced for a large gun. Now, this is empty, and you load this thing with 17 rounds of 9mm. It's going to be even heavier, but it's a two-hander for sure. So that's the after dark portion.
Yeah, the after dark portion. Yeah. After the dark portion of the stream has now ended. That was a cool looking gun, though.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's the way it slid so easily, man. That was pretty impressive.
Well, it was funny when I first picked it up because I've never handled one before. I first picked it up. I'm like, and the thing goes, whoop, I'm like, whoa, so smooth. Yeah, 17 round is very good. Here's the rocket launcher. I got that out in the garage. In my meth lab.
Oh, there's a movie with, I think the guy's name is Jamie Kennedy, where he's like a rich white kid, but he wants to be like a gangster rapper.
Sure.
And I forget the name of I forget the name of the movie, but he's friends with a bunch of rich kids, and for whatever reason, they all end up having to bring weapons because they're going to try to help one of their friends out. And one guy brings like a musket. That's the only weapon he can find. His family's rich. He just got it off the wall at his dad's house. And then the Middle Eastern dude shows up with the rocket launcher. Oh, gee, dude. What the heck was it? I'm sure, I guarantee you Pat remembers the name of that movie. I think it was Jamie Kennedy. Pat, what's the name of that movie? It has something to do with Malibu.
Malibu's Most Wanted?
No, Tarek just said it. Malibu's Most Wanted, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Chaka got it too. Okay.
What's up, Tarek?
Hey, Tarek, good to see you.
Oh, man. I just remember that scene. I'm not really into those kind of movies. I don't know why I was watching or who I was with. But when they came out with the weapons they showed up with, I was losing it. I was just absolutely losing
it. Straight out of Austin.
I just saw not really saw. There's this channel on YouTube that I don't know how it started showing up in my feed. But the guy's name is Mr. Ballin, and he just sits there in front of his screen and he tells a story that he probably got out of a newspaper or a magazine, or maybe he saw it on like 48 hours or 60 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just explains the story. But there was a city just north of Austin, I guess, that got kind of expensive. You might have heard the story about a woman whose husband dies in a car crash, and the police become suspicious of her, thinking that she might have done something or had something to do with it, because they decided it wasn't. He didn't die in a car crash. They decided it was a murder, and she was followed a little bit, and turns out her husband had recently been charged with like a sex offender. He was going to have to do 30 days in jail, and they didn't want him to do the jail. I don't know why only 30 days. He didn't explain why it was such a short sentence, but he didn't want to do his jail sentence. So they faked his death and got the $110,000 in insurance money. And all he did was dye his hair black and move back in the house. And they were kind of getting away with it. But even though he was living in the house, they had like a rendezvous one night where they met up, and the cops that were undercover following her followed them into a Taco Bell. When they looked at him, they realized that's the guy that we think that she killed. That's him. And it's kind of how they busted him, and they said what happened to it. But they said it happened in a city just north of Austin that was getting really expensive, that they couldn't remember that they couldn't afford anymore. But I can't remember the name of the city. I'll have to look at. I'll have to ask. But you don't remember that story about a woman who helped fake her husband's death?
Doesn't ring a bell.
It was in, I think, wasn't too long ago, because she got 20 years and is already out on parole. So it couldn't have been too long ago.
I guess not. No, I don't remember that. No, there's anywhere around here is getting too expensive to live. I mean, the property taxes keep going up, and they were having this weird problem in the state legislature. Now, the state legislature is predominantly Republican, and we have a Republican governor, so you wouldn't think that they would have too many issues getting bills passed. But they hit a bizarre snag when they tried to lower property taxes, because the state operates with a budget surplus. So we've got money. So one of the initiatives was, let's lower property taxes. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do that. And you would think that a Republican-controlled legislature and the Republican governor would all come together on this and get it done, but no. There's been some contention among Republicans. I'm like, how weird is this? So I don't know. Weird. I don't get it. It was my wife. If she killed me in a car crash, you can't tell.
Well, it turns out the guy dug up a body and put it in there, and he drove it off a cliff, because in between their house and his mom's house was like 40 miles worth of winding road, and he dug up a body, put it in the car, drove it off the cliffs, and they found the body in there, and they put you guys always see my Donald pin. He always had a Harley Davidson pin on his hat, and they found that at the crash site and a few other things that were common to the guys, so they just assumed it was him. But then they found a lot of lighter fluid residue in the vehicle, so they're like, you know what, that's what made him suspicious, and thought that it was a murder, not a crash.
That's weird. Uh-oh. Jamie makes a drinking game out of it. When I drink, so does Jamie. Bottoms up. But I just have water.
Yeah, mine's I got a stainless one too. mine's just water as well.
What else we got for tools here? Anything exciting? Anything interesting? Oh, you got, oh, this is interesting.
Okay, I can't wait till you get the pass-through cordless ratchet.
I'm really looking forward to that. In the meantime, look at the Top Don BT600 battery tester. I had a customer who specifically asked for this one. Comes in a very nice nylon pouch. And I'm stoked to get some Top Don stuff coming in. I ordered a few things. Some of the stuff's on back order because it's fairly new. They have a little power station that you charge it up and you can plug in. It puts out AC power, which I thought was kind of cool. So I have a couple of those on order, and this is a battery tester. Very light. Feels like there's nothing to it.
Nice screen.
Yeah.
Easy to use. 4 toggle buttons up and down. Then you got your print button. Shoot, man, that's got to be it. I mean, anybody's got to be able to use that one.
I think it's only $150.
I'm sure the screen's going to prompt you and say, so you can toggle up for CCAs and everything. Yeah, man, that's nice.
Yeah, and it just has the multi-pin connector on one end and the terminal connectors on the other for a cable. And
dude, our apprentice he ruined
comes with 2 rolls of printer paper. How cool is that?
Hey, that works. I had to replace the end on our battery tester because our apprentice hot to hot, and one of the cable ends got all melted up.
Ugh.
I didn't get too hot at him for this one because it was on an SSR, and the battery to connect it's underneath the vehicle, and he was raising up the vehicle. I mean, it was I guess this could have happened to anybody, but it's just unfortunate that it happened to the guy that everything happens to. Could have happened to anybody, but why did it have to happen to him again? One of those situations.
I call guys like that Jupiter.
Jupiter
is such a huge planet in our solar system that it has such a large gravitational influence that a lot of things come flying into our solar system and crash into Jupiter, and they don't come crashing into the rest of us. So thank God for Jupiter.
Thank God for Jupiter, right?
Away. Guys like that. My ex-wife was like that. I used to call her Jupiter, like, thank God for you, because you keep the weird stuff happening to the rest of us. So good on you. So some people are like that.
Oh, winter chicken dinner. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie says it's something broken and wrapped in tape. $89.95. Yippee! I win.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you are low on the price.
He's not wrong because he said what you told him it was.
That is true.
This is broken. It's wrapped in tape.
Brian wants to know thoughts on the new Milwaukee batteries. I don't have any yet because I don't know much about them, but I'm very interested. Now they announced these new batteries that are supposed to have like a longer runtime, like the 60 amp hours is supposed to be equivalent to 12 or something like that. I don't remember exactly I was reading up on it a little bit the other day. I should brush up on it some more, but I don't know anything about them yet. Do you have any in, Brian, or have you seen them yet?
Didn't DeWalt come out with some batteries like that?
They came out with a system called FlexVolt about
the
6 years ago or so. Yeah, you can get a 60 volt battery that puts out 60 volts on a 60 volt tool, and some of the really large tools are 60 volt. Or if you put that same battery in a 20 volt tool, it steps down its output voltage to 20 volts, which is cool. And you can double them up. So they have a table saw which puts out 100, which requires 120 volts. You double up the batteries and get 120 volts out of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay, that's what it's supposed to be. As powerful as the 12 and lighter. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know anything about them firsthand.
If that's the case, then that's got to help a lot for like hand fatigue, I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, that's the one downside of the 12s. They're so heavy and big. Yeah, that's right too. Quick Wrench Power Stack is a DeWalt. Isn't that when like you can change the voltage output within the cell? I don't remember. They have like different cell configuration. Yeah,
I think the power stacks were the ones I was thinking of too.
Yeah, okay. That's probably what it is then. Yeah, Brian doesn't think that the Milwaukees are available yet. I think you're right about that. Yoda Doug's here. Good to see you, Doug.
Hey, what's up, Yoda Doug? Tool and Knife, you changed the name of your channel. What's up, man?
And JWC Tech says he has the 5 amp hour power stacks in stock. Super powerful. Forged batteries will be shipping this month. Okay. Good to know. And even Pat says power stacks a game changer.
Yeah, that was the term I think everyone was using back then. When it came out, it was a game changer.
All right, continuing with the tools, I've got 2 replacement swivel magnetic spark plug sockets, which with built-in extensions from Gear Wrench. These are for our friend Cass Nichols.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and
I know him.
Cass only
I think
gets them
he's-
if he joins us on the panel tonight.
Hold those up again. Let me get a look at them.
This is the 5/8 socket on a, what is that, an 8-inch or 9-inch extension?
All right.
And this is also a 5/8 socket, but it's the 4-inch version.
Shorter extension. Nice.
Yeah.
Magnetized.
Yep, magnets and the swivel extension now. And Brian asked if I've sold the Milwaukee air compressor or the power bank. No, I have not. Well, it's a tool thing. That is a good point. If Milwaukee would change one thing, it's my wish for them to make the fitment better on the M18 batteries and improve the retainer clips on the M12 batteries, because that is a weak point. And they're always the tabs on the M12 batteries are forever breaking. Now they do cover under warranty, but still, I can't believe. Well, I mean, I have to believe it's worth it to them. If it's not cost effective, they simply wouldn't do it. They'd change the design, but they haven't. So I'm forced to believe that the way they're doing it is the most cost effective way to them. But it's inconvenient, to say the least.
Yeah, I've heard people say that that's an issue. I've heard some people say they've never had an issue, but I think I've heard more people say that they've had that issue than not have that issue.
Yeah, it's a constant problem. When someone brings me an M12, if I see somebody walking up to me holding an M12 battery, 98% chance that I know exactly what the problem is. That's the retainer clips. Usually, every now and then, like it'll stop taking a charge, but that's not typical. Typical is the clips breaking.
It looks like they're getting rain and lightning in Oregon. We were 105, 106, 107 Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday we cooled down a little bit to about 102, and then Friday pouring rain, 78 degrees. It's like, oh my goodness, it was just crazy how quick weather changes.
Man, what I wouldn't do to get some rain around here. Ooh. We haven't had rain. I don't know the last time it rained. It's been at least 3 months. And everything's dead, dried up. We set a record for a number of days in a row. It's over 100 degrees. And our water well has run dry. So now I got water to the house. So that's nice.
Is your water supply usually rainwater? Is it rainwater?
It's well water.
Oh, it's well water.
So,
well water.
Yeah, so it relies on rain to charge the aquifers and then draw to the aquifer, but the aquifer is dry now.
So how do you correct that?
We have to pay to have water trucked in and dumped into our holding tank.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there's an expense I'd rather not have, but when the water doesn't exist under the ground, that's what you got to do. Same thing happened last year. We got water trucked in for 3 or 4 months until we started getting real rain again and the aquifer recharged. All right. Who out there owns a 24-inch long chain wrench?
No, not me.
You want to, though. Oh, man, what are you working on requires a 24-inch long handle of a chain wrench? Well, this is going to a guy who works on trash trucks, and man, it's a bit of an undertaking to take off some of those filters. So he's going to be using this to do PMs and filter work. Yeah, well, Brian's right. I do right now, but not for long.
Tarek said that he's never had an issue with loose batteries on his M12s or M18s, and he thinks that it's guys who only use 2 batteries because they're always in cycle, and he thinks that's what the issue is. And Tarek has a shit ton of batteries.
That is true. Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, Cass does too. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, one of these batteries I have for you, Cass, I can't remember. I think you handed me one the other day. If it's not, it could be because it's not the first time I've had to handle batteries for Cass. This is a cool 2-piece hose clamp plier set from OTC. You can see the ends on those. It's a little reflecty because it's in the package. But these are the nice ratcheting ones. I think, yeah, this is a special order for somebody, but it's also something I'm going to be keeping in stock regularly on the truck. OTC has some nice hose clamp options.
My cable hose clamp plier is OTC.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, JWC Tech, you might find it if the tabs are still intact. Maybe there's like a crack or a fracture. Check it, and if you find it, I mean they'll take care of it. Yeah, and then Cass gives me a battery like every week.
A lot of people just I've heard like get like a piece of a paper or cardboard or something like that, kind of just fill the gap, make it a little bit tighter.
Yeah, I guess you could, yeah. Then Brian's going to a mini expo in a couple of weeks. Are you going to that one, Brian? Oh, that's a good tip. Jason getting the hose clamp pliers under the Astro name, yeah. $12. Wow. That's a new air impact. I'd be curious to know what you find for sales on that. I haven't sold an air impact in a long time. First of all, the prices are going up, and it now almost it's tough when people are moving toward the battery stuff anyway. And now with the costs going up on some of the air stuff, like the Ingersoll 2235 Ti Max, excellent impact. It's been a workhorse for Ingersoll for years. But the price is now like the tool truck price is like $600. If you're going to drop $600 on an impact, people are usually more willing to put it on a cordless option, I think, like the Milwaukee stuff or whatever. You sell 50/50. Yeah. Good for you, man. I like the only air tools I regularly sell anymore are die grinders and air hammers.
That's what I was going to say. Die grinders and air hammers.
That's pretty much it. And it's not like people don't use air impacts. They do. But they're all stuff they've had in their arsenal for a long time. Either the old Ingersolls or the Aircats or something like that. So either branded, Ingersoll or Aircat, or the Matco or Cornwell ones, and certainly Snap-on. They've had really good air tools for a long time. And Jason says it was like that, brand new out of the package, really. But not cracked, just fits different. Okay. And the same fitment with the 2.5 amp hour. Brian's waiting for Milwaukee to come out with a pressure washer. DeWalt has one. Actually. I was just looking it up the other day for somebody. I didn't even know they did.
Did they buy it?
No.
What was the one asking?
He didn't like the price. I can't blame it. It was kind of pricey, but. And Quick Wrench loves his cordless air hammer.
Doesn't Bosch make one?
A pressure washer?
No, a cordless air hammer.
They might make. Well, I don't know about air hammers. I know they make like electro-pneumatic nailers.
I thought I saw a video. It might have been Bosch, I think, but I thought I saw a video, and it was like they were trying to. You ever see how the ice build up in the mini fridges?
Yeah.
They were like trying to break that, and they were struggling.
And Tarek says that DeWalt has a bunch of pressure washers, gas, electric, battery, and some built-driven pro models. What? That I'd love to see. And Brian says that DeWalt battery washer is decent, but it's not strong. I would imagine you're not going to compete with like a gas-powered one. Is that one of the heated ones, JWC Tech, or is that just like a regular cold water pressure washer? There's some of those diesel-fired heated pressure washers, which are really cool.
Yeah, I remember Brandon from BS Small Engines. He picked up a used one and was trying to. It wasn't running right, but I think he got it running right and sold it or something. One of them diesel ones.
I had a guy ask me to sell one for him one time, and it was pretty beat up. And he said, "Oh, it works. I just replaced some O-rings and parts on it. Works great." I'm like, all right, so put it on the truck. He won $1,000. Like, it seems like a lot. The most anyone would offer for it was $100 because it was kind of beat up and shabby looking. So I talked to the guy, but they fine, sold for $100. So I roll it off the truck. We hook it up. The thing's leaking all over the place.
Oh, jeez.
The guy just said, "Forget it." I'm like, I don't blame you. Where's the nearest dumpster?
Right now, Harry on his truck, he's selling a AC machine on consignment, and he said has cash only $2,500. And like you said, I mean, it looks like it's been put through hell. So I was like, "Oh man, dude, I'm good." Yeah. Oh, here we go. Bosch, Skill, and Milwaukee have battery-powered hammers, but they are for driving. Oh, Tech, okay. Tech nails. I saw a vid where a guy used the Skill to knock the ball joint loose. Oh, wow. I think Skill, and I just think household for like, now don't take this. This is going to come off sexist. Like that my wife would be using, Like how I don't think of them as I put them with Black and Decker now more than I would put them with Milwaukee or DeWalt or something.
I think of them the same way. I think it's like a consumer grade brand.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think, but it was, for all I know, the guy owns a shop and his guys weren't taking care of it, so maybe he bought new. I don't know, but yeah, you would think for something that expensive, you take care of it. My boss is looking to get a 1234 YF machine. Blows my mind, man. He asked me to price a couple out. I hit up Roscoe, and I don't even know if he ever looked at a catalog because he gave me numbers from like in like texts in a row, like 4, 5, 6 texts in unison, 2 minutes apart or so, give or take. But he started like at 14.5 all the way up to like $22,000, and I'm like, oh, dude, my boss isn't spending that much on it. And I talked to Robert, who's our new Cornwall guy, and he said that I think he said right now they're going for, I can't remember if he said 67 or 77. But they're going to go on sale, which now, whenever the Cornwall flyer comes out for 63 or 73, like $400 off, but he told them, because my boss recently bought one from Gabe before Gabe, about a year ago. He bought just a 134A, and I think he just wrote him a check. And he told me if he just writes a check again, I'll knock off like another $500 off of that. So I don't know how Snap-on could compete with that. I mean, the lowest price Roscoe gave me was 14 grand, and Cornwell's quoted me a Robinair for, if you knock off another $500, it's like either 68 or 58, whatever that guy. It was probably going to be 68. I think it was 77, 73, and then 68 if he wrote a check.
Wow, that's a big difference.
Huge.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's still secrets in this industry, and you're not going to learn them all, I don't think. But man, I get really curious about why there's such a huge price difference between, like we were talking about earlier with gloves. Why is Granger, who I'm sure buys way more gloves than I'll ever buy, why are they selling a box of 100 8mm nitrile gloves for $34 when I buy them through my regular supplier? Even if I was buying my old brand, per box I could sell them for $30 on the truck. But now in my new agreement, I can sell a box of gloves for at least a third less than that. And then if a shop buys them in bulk from me, it's even less. So I don't understand. Well, I think just Brian nailed it because they can. It still seems weird to me, right? I mean, if you were, I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I'd love to kind of shadow people who make those decisions just to know what goes on in that. It just seems like in a competitive business landscape like we're all in, you would want to sell for as little as possible to beat out the other guy. But apparently that's not the case. Okay. JWC Tech wants a hint on this. I don't know how big a hint it's going to be, but I'll give you one. It was sold as part of a larger tool, branded for Snap-on by a different company who manufactures it, but the manufacturer does not make this part. Yet another company manufactured this part for the manufacturer of the tool who branded it for Snap-on. There's your hint.
Man, did we just get 4 phone calls with 4 different companies worth of hint right now?
I had to make 4 phone calls to figure that out. I will say this. My first call was to Snap-on because I said, and they said, oh, no, they said, call this number. It's the manufacturer. They branded it for us. Okay, great. So I called them and they said, yeah, we make the tool, but we don't make that part. That's from this other company. I'm like, okay. So I called them and they gave me the part number for it that I could use by calling then a local distributor who then said, yeah, they can get it, and they gave me the price. So and then I got back to my customer on it. My customer is thinking about whether he wants to replace it.
Brian told me I should get the Matco one, the dual machine, because they'll come out and teach us. Like Cornwell said, they'll come out and teach everyone how to use it as well. I mean, teaching people how to use a machine is one thing, but it doesn't mean that everyone's going to get to use the machine, because I don't care. We get these guys at the shop who, take an online $25 class, they get their 609, and, which all it really is it allows you to handle refrigerant. It doesn't teach you how to diagnose AC. I can work on AC now. I said, all right, hook up a set of gauges, get your pressures and start diagnosing that. Oh no, well, what do you mean? He's I was going to recover it. Nah, dude. I mean, that's not recovering and recharging doesn't fix everything. Tell me if it's a compressor. Tell me if it's an expansion valve or a orifice tube. Don't just because you have a 609 doesn't mean that you're certified to work on ACs with this, $15,000 or $12,000 or $6,000 piece of equipment. You're just going to screw it up, man. Sorry, venting.
All right, JWC Tech has a question for you.
Have you saw the sealed head cordless brushless DeWalt ratchet, Jude. Looks like the accurate version. I've seen it on videos, but no, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it in person. I don't think Jesus has had one on his truck.
Oh, hold the phone, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a legitimate fan and Monday morning customer joining us, Ryan Moores. He's asking if this is an anvil from the gear reduction power wrench. No, that is an excellent guess, though. I like the way you think, Ryan. Ryan is the proud new owner of a really nice Autel scanner that he just bought from me. So thank you for the purchase. I will publicly thank you, sir. Glad you're enjoying it. He gives you good feedback on it. Ryan's a great guy. A younger tech who is just finishing up school. Are you done yet, Ryan? I know that. Did you say August was your graduation? Great kid. He's making a great name for himself. Landed a great spot at a terrific shop. Oh, he works for the guy who won the Snap-on Toolbox giveaway we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Great
Very
shop
nice.
full of great guys, and Ryan's a terrific guy. I met him when he was working at his previous shop, and he landed in a terrific place. So I'm really happy for him.
Was that the shop that it originally came from? The Toolbox?
No.
No. That would have been funny.
I guess whatever curse is on the box got lifted. So
What's up, Ryan, man? Good to meet you.
Oh, he just finished the last course on the 25th. Congratulations, buddy.
What school did you go to?
Was it ACC or UTI? I forget which. It was ACC, wasn't it, Ryan? Austin Community College? Oh, UTI. That's right. Okay, yeah.
Well, congratulations, man.
Yeah, nice accomplishment. And it's funny how you meet so many different people with different. Even though, like, you might meet a whole bunch of guys the same age and the same kind of area in their lives, where they're in their working lives, but they have different objectives. And Ryan is one of these guys who I don't worry about, like I worry about some other guys his age, where he's not an impulse buyer at all. He thinks a lot before he puts money on anything, and is very conscientious about how he buys and how much he's spending. And
He's smart.
He's very smart. And you see guys his age that just start running headlong into stuff. They don't even know if they want to do this job. And, but Ryan's been committed to it because he's been turning wrenches for a long, long time, even before he started doing it professionally, if I remember right, Ryan. And he's just one of these guys that he's just well put together. He knows what he wants to do. He's got his goals, and he's knocking them off one at a time. It's great to see. And Brian's giving away my money. Yeah, take $1,000 toward the scanner.
Which auto did he get?
It was the Elite, right? Let me look it up. I'll tell you in 1 second, because I got his account right here. Oh, the MS Ultra Maxi Sys.
Is that the one that does the? Well, does it have or the fobs for the keys?
Let's see. Does it have the key programmer?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's got the pass-through box. Let me get the all the specs here.
about that. Just checking a score.
No, I don't think with this one you can do the key programming. Ryan, if I'm wrong, correct me. Yes, the Ultra. Jimmy came back. You couldn't sleep. Nice to have you back. I'm sure before too long we'll bore we'll bore you to sleep again. All right, let's go back to this guy. We've been noodling on this now for quite a while. This is a square drive for a Snap-on torque multiplier.
Ah.
All right. I don't know how many people in the automotive or diesel sectors would ever use one or have seen one.
Roscoe's got 2 of them on his truck. He's had them on his truck forever.
I bet. They're expensive. I suspect that they're more of something that would find... yes, Pat, it's an anvil. Well, is it though? An anvil is struck with a hammer. And I don't think the torque multiplier... All right, I mean that's why you find
that's splitting hairs, man. I think that's splitting hairs a little bit.
Hairs?
Well,
no hammer mechanism.
An anvil. Well, yeah, I guess you're. Well,
I mean, it is.
But wouldn't you consider like your ratchets to have anvils?
Nope.
No,
because a ratchet works on a completely different mechanism than an impact. A ratchet has a square drive around a gear. Okay. And that gear is driven by, if it's an electric ratchet, it's driven by a little mechanism that just turns the gear. And it mates with a pawl. And those teeth mesh together and you advance the gear in one direction only and it can't reverse in the other direction. Whereas an impact, you have a square drive on one end and there's dogs on the back side of that anvil and hammers spin and hit the dogs. And that's what creates that impacting motion or action rather in the tool. So, okay, now, how much does this cost? This was the torque multiplier tool is made by a company called, I wrote it down here, hold on, called Hydratite. And they make industrial grade fastening tools. So they'll make like hydraulic driven impacts and stuff that you only find, stuff we'll never see is what what I'm saying. But this part was made for Hydratite by a company called Enerpac. Okay. And Enerpac told, so I called Snap-on, they said, call Hydratite. I called Hydratite, they said, call Enerpac. I called Enerpac, they said, call a local distributor. But each one of these guys gave me information I really needed, and the Enerpac guy gave me the part number for this. And when I called the local distributor, he said, yeah, we got them, but he said, we can get them. They're special orders. This little guy, and there's not more to this. When you order it, this is what you get. For the low price of $505.
Wow.
Good thing you're sitting down, huh?
Is he repairing his tool? Is your customer returning?
So here's a lot of interesting things happen in these conversations I had. When I talked to Enerpac, they said they were shipping those, rather, when I talked to Hydratite, they said they were shipping the kits with a spare one of these. He said, so have your customer look around and see if he's got it. I'm like, okay. But he doesn't. Well, he does have the kit in the original case. It does not have a spare square drive. And so when I texted back and forth with my customer on this, and I told him all this stuff, and he said, well, he says, I can put it on my company card. I said, yeah, do that. I said, because it has to be paid for in full. I said, it's not like I'm not a dealer for these guys. So if I buy it, then you're just reimbursing me to give it to you. I'm not making a dime on that sale. And he says, well, just he says, I can't give my company card until we have it. Can you put on my card, then refund my card, then charge the company card? I said, you know how much money that's going to cost in processing fees? I said, it's like 5% to process a refund and then 4% to process it. I said, it's 9% of the sale. I said that you're going to have to pay for on top of the part itself. And then now he's hemming and hawing. He doesn't know what he wants to do. So we'll see. We're just joined by Larry B, who says, too late, man. And yet you're up. Thanks for jumping on, Larry. Yeah, Ryan says something sounds like something Snap-on will sell for sure. Well, Snap-on has an entire industrial segment to their company. And the reason why my customer owns this is because he loves owning stuff that most people don't own. I'm sure he doesn't have the most practical application for it. He works on paving equipment, so it is larger, but I don't know why he would need a torque multiplier. And JWC Tech says they've been getting impacts from an industrial company called Clico. They make those little studs for bodywork. Are those Clico fasteners? Are they the ones, the same company? I don't know. Prices are outrageous, but the Grainger customer base usually doesn't care about price. They charge it to the company. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, I usually don't care when I'm spending my boss's money. I spend. I'll be honest. I spend that pretty freely. Like even if the guys will be like, "Hey man, I'm working on my truck. You think we can get parts for my one guy's got a Duramax, one guy's got a Toyota." I just say, dude, come on, we'll go jump on the computer and I'll order up parts from him, put the receipts on my boss's desk and say, "Oh, well, I'm payday. You know, Angel's going to pay you or Oscar's going to pay you or whatever."
Yeah. And JWC Tech is asking anyone if you've seen the new Toolbox Tours video. I have not. I don't know if anyone else has. Do you generally watch those?
I know the channel. I've seen a few of them, but I haven't watched his channel in a while.
I haven't either.
The guy, I don't know if he's just calls shops up or if he knows people at shops, but he just walks into shops and he's talking to a mechanic and he asks him to go through his box. No, I haven't seen the new one.
I think I saw one of the more recent ones where they were comparing like some of the older Maximizers to some of the newer Craftsmans, and there might have been a US General in there or something, and just comparing the different brands.
Yeah, I see a lot of tool cart tours.
Yeah.
I was talking to a couple weeks ago. Oh shoot, time goes by quick. We're already in September, so it was almost a month ago. You guys know Tool Demos. I called them. I was driving to the beach for my brother's birthday, but I knew I had a long drive and we had a lot of traffic, and my kid was in the back with his buddy. You know, they were talking. So I said I needed to call him. So I called him and we were talking a little bit about one of the topics that came up was I see these channels and I was like, oh, it's like a recommended video, and I'll click on it because I'm interested in people's tool setups. Yeah. And quality. The picture looks great. The guy speaks real well. Great videos. And I said, oh, dude, I've never heard of this guy. How can he? How could I have never heard of him before? And then I'll click on the channel and it'll be like 102 subs or something like that. I said, oh, it's a new channel. But then I was telling him, I said, dude, it blows my mind, man. Well, these guys are, I don't know, did they just sit there and watch and watch and watch and watch? Or do they practice and practice? Or are they just that skilled at editing because their videos look way better than mine. Dude, why am I even bothering? What's the point? And he was like, yeah, man, I don't know. I see a lot of these channels that they're starter channels and they just got quality content, or at least the production. He's like, but yeah, he's like, no, but you build a following. People want to see you. They like you. They like your personality. And I'm like, all right, well, yeah, I'm not gonna stop. I'm just saying, dude, it seems pointless, man. Like, blows my mind how fast a channel can have such quality videos. And here I'm still doing this with my camera. It's like, oh, sorry guys, I don't you guys can't see what I'm.
I would love to meet guys like that and find out, how I was watching someone's channel. I watched a lot of cooking channels, and I was watching a lady's cooking channel. I wasn't that blown away by her content, but I'm like, yeah, she's got some good stuff. And I think she had, I want to say 60 or 70,000 subscribers, so it was a good sized channel. And then I start looking at, all the content she has posted, and she's been posting content for 10 years. And I go back to the oldest ones and I see 1,500 views in 10 years. Some of her bigger ones, 50,000 views. Okay. In 10 years. But that's it. Like nothing. I'm like, how do you have so many subscribers and not that many viewers? Now, I just don't know how some people do it. And I don't get it. But I know you can buy subscribers too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Hector's Interesting Coins is here saying hello to Jude.
Oh, hey, Hector. What's up, man? How are you? I don't know if he's still in here, Hector, but Pat Paulson was in the chat for a while. He lives in I think they probably met up a couple of times by now, but he lives in Pat Paulson's area. They both like old Nissans.
And JWC Tech agrees with Tarek on the Toolbox tour guy, but he says his tool addiction is so bad he overlooks his fakeness.
I didn't want to say, okay, as long as I wasn't reading the comments, but as long as Tarek and JWC Tech have both said that, I'm going to say it, man. I see this dude, and he's a kind of like his hair's gray and white, like Eddie Tech guy, and he's kind of got like a pompadour. He's got these big black frame glasses, and he's got this. He's probably about my complexion, but he's got what I think looks like this fake smile, and almost like he does. Looking at him and hearing him speak, I think it's not a nice way to say it. He doesn't look like he belongs in a shop. I mean, he looks like he would be more comfortable doing the interviewing the cooking channels. He doesn't look like he's into tools at all. Right. I really don't get the channel. It just blows my mind. But it is what it is. I've watched a few of his videos, but as long as those guys are saying that, I know it's not just me that's going to sound like a jerk.
Well, a lot of it is there's a lot of content creators on YouTube who they just found what formula works for them, and what they're making doesn't matter to them as much as how well received it is. What's their viewership, their likes, their subscribers? As long as those numbers are going up and they're getting paid, they couldn't care less what kind of content they're putting out there. So yeah, you might find somebody who really doesn't fit, kind of in whatever industry they're making content about. But hey, to them it doesn't matter because they're making money.
Yeah.
And and for some people that's their only goal. That's fine, and it works. And if people don't want to watch the channel, they won't.
I like Brian Stewart says, I watch a lot of tool trick videos. Those I do like. And I enjoy the camaraderie between the person doing the video and the tool truck. Like sometimes, like for instance, Clay Coon could be on Mr. Joe's truck, and they're talking about tools a little bit, but Joe's talking about you get drawn in. It's a series. You watch it every week. Like, oh man, I know that's right. Joe's gonna have surgery. I wonder how he's doing. Or I wonder if his wife's any better. His wife was sick. I wonder if she's any better. And they address that stuff, and it's they're doing a good job if that's what I'm looking for. So I watch a lot of tool truck videos because I want to see what's happening next.
I mean, it's a true reality show where there's actual people living actual lives. You just get some insight to it.
Yeah.
And you get a relationship going with these guys. And there's people I feel very akin to and I've never met. And I would love, there's a guy in Austin named Isaac. I don't know his last name. He has a channel called IC, this is his initials, IC Weld. And he's a welder and he's got his own shop. It is not much of a shop. It looks like he's a step above shade tree mechanic level stuff, but he does most of his work remotely on job sites. He's got a work truck that'll blow your socks off, and he does incredible work. I would love to meet this guy. In fact, I dropped him a note on his Instagram page once I didn't hear back from him, so I kind of hope someday I'm just going to kind of run into him because he's a guy, like I watch his stuff. I want to meet this guy so bad just to say hi. But I think it'd be a great opportunity to do a collaboration video with him or something, and we can talk tools, and I would love to do a truck tour with this guy and just go through everything he's got on board that truck.
Oh, that would be great.
That would be unreal.
Those videos do well too. There's a channel that's got two videos. One's a truck tour, and one's I think he's talking about a light or something like that. And his truck tour video was his first one. It got like 80,000 views, but because he didn't post any more content after that, people never went back to him. Everyone who saw the truck tour video saw it. Sometimes when you put more videos up and you watch a video, his other videos will get suggested when you haven't seen it before. But yeah, it's a guy I know. His name's Kelly. He's a cool dude. I can't think of the name of his channel. AgTech 45. He's got two videos, and one of them's a truck tour video, and it's got huge numbers. Kelly's a cool guy too. He's been on a live stream with us before. So I can imagine, especially if this guy's got a channel, you got a channel, you guys are both doing well with your channels, man, that video could go.
Yeah, that would be. I would just love. Now, the guy's got a way more popular channel than I do, so I don't think I don't know how motivated he would be to do something like that, unless he just wants to do it for fun, which I would love to do because that'd be a great time. I'm just blown away with I'm blown away with what he does with what he has, and he is living proof that you don't need the swankiest, snazziest shop. You don't need the greatest setup. If you're smart and you're skilled and you have a good experience and the right tools for the jobs you do, you can do it. And he's living proof of that.
That is cool. But there's nothing wrong with trying, like for our Thursday and Saturday night live streams. I'm working and trying, man. If I can get this LA, I don't know if it's just, he has a radio talk show. He calls games on Fox Sports, but I mean he's huge. Everyone knows who Petros Papadakis is. I mean, he doesn't know who we are, but he's also a dork. He seems like he'd do it just for the fun of it.
That to me is really cool. If you find a guy like that who just likes meeting people and having some fun, making some videos, that can be a really good time.
He literally said he has to hold back and be fake, so each mechanic he interviews can feel like they're teaching him or showing him something new, some new things. Although he's seen most of the stuff 1,000. Yes, so that comes through big time. I mean, you can see that in him. I
mean, here's the reality too. When when you do what he does, there's only so many times you can do. So many times you can do it because it's just not going to be. It's not going to be a fresh idea anymore. You know, It's like when I do. Like I haven't done a toolbox review or a tool cart review in a long time because
Long time.
there's not much to say different about any tool cart you get. You can, with very little exception, cover every toolbox and every tool cart saying the same things about all of them. There's not that much difference between them. There's a few things, but I mean, maybe some features are different. But you know, once you've seen them and gone through them, how many times are you going to do it?
I proved in my video when that U.S. General came out that everyone does that shake test on the U.S. General. It says, "Oh, it shakes. Look at this garbage." And I went and did that to my Snap-on cart, and it did the exact same thing, if not worse. And I was like, "Dude, that's not a good test, guys. Come on."
No, the first time I saw somebody do that, I'm like, "Is that really a test?" Right? Until I found that every toolbox and cart will do that until you extend a drawer the whole way and run the rails to their limit, and then they don't.
Yep.
Right? I mean,
yeah,
then you put it in this limit and it starts to wobble again. That's, you know, everyone does it. I mean, what do you expect? Look at what you're doing. Like you're running a drawer out on this long, thin rail. Of course, there's going to be.
And I even showed what was happening on all the boxes that I showed it to. You know, on one of the rails is out, and on the other side, the rail is just going in and out because it's not all the way extended, and you just see it sliding in and out on the rail. That's all it's doing.
To answer JWC text question, no, I have not met Jigsaw Bra. I didn't even know he was at a channel. I was just looking it up while you were mentioning that. I'm going to check out his stuff. He's got a ton of videos. It's all motorcycle related stuff. That looks pretty cool. Got a couple 100,000 subscribers. Been around for a few years. Yeah. I'll check it out.
All right, Hector. Glad you made it home safe. If you stay awake and we'll keep watching, we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Hector. Ooh, he likes to ride fast on highways. Well, you know, there's a saying, there's old bikers and there's stupid bikers. There are no old, stupid bikers.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Brian likes when they do is step on the drawer demo when it fails. Right? Why is stepping on a drawer or sitting on a drawer a test of its strength? Guess what? You're loading it with tools, not humans. Right? I mean, if it'll hold the tools you're putting in it, it's strong enough.
Yeah, that's exactly true. I mean, you could pull out your toolbox, and I've seen guys say, "Oh yeah, you can pull out your drawer, sit on it, and eat lunch on it." I said, "Well, dude, isn't that what a chair's for? Why do you need it? You don't have a shop stool? Well, why are you pulling out your wrench drawer and sitting on it to eat lunch? Well, come on, dude."
I don't understand. All right, so years ago I hired a guy who he didn't work out in the long run. He was only with me about 6 months, and he was kind of salesy. And I'm not, right? But I like, you know, whatever. If the approach works for him, I'm not gonna question him, right? So I took in a used Snap-on air hammer on trade, right? And I'm looking up to see what it's worth, and I thought we get a few $100 for it. And he said, we can ask more for that. I said, "You think so?" He goes, "Yeah." He says, that's an easy sell. I said, "Okay." I said, "Sell me on this air hammer." He goes, "Okay." And I had the new Ingersoll ones on the shelf, and we had this used Snap-on one. So he says, "All right, the Ingersoll one," he goes, "I mean, it's a good air hammer." He says, "But with the Snap-on one, you can knock down a house with it." And I said, "No one's going to be knocking down a house with it. Why would they buy it?" I mean, that's not how we're using the tool. You know, so I think it's funny how some people are susceptible to the suggestion that if I say it does something out of the ordinary, or even in this case, absurd, you're not knocking down a house with an air hammer, right? You're not eating lunch in a toolbox drawer. If I give you a visual that's outside what you would normally think. Somehow that's supposed to sell something. And I don't know how susceptible people are to that.
No, that's perfect logic though. Why is someone even going to attempt to knock? No one's going to attempt to knock a house down with the air hammer.
Nope.
I do know the salesman approach because I worked at dealerships before, and I used to know some of the car salesmen. And a used car salesman said that he didn't like selling used cars. He likes selling used cars. And I'm like, why? He's like, because man, we sell Fords, man. You can go to any Ford dealership within 100 miles here and pick up a Fusion or an F-150. All the dealerships got them. He said, but we might be the only dealership that's got this 3-year-old Jeep Cherokee, and that's unique. Not everyone's got it. So they got to come to me if they want to buy that. So I'm going to be able to sell that easily, which makes sense if you have something no one else has. But having a Snap-on air hammer isn't like they can't just go to the Snap-on truck and get one. I mean, It's not.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about that was later on that day, actually, it sold. And here's how it sold. 3 guys got on the truck at once. One guy saw it on the shelf. He says, I'll take it. Okay. Bring it on up. Off you go. I mean, that was so no sales job was needed, right? To Brian's point, he's no pressure sales. I'm not either. My whole philosophy is I see my role as being a resource for a customer, right? It's okay if I walk out of a shop and someone doesn't buy something. I don't even like saying I sold something, right? I usually say someone bought something from me instead of I sold something to somebody, because I don't even like being in that mindset of me selling. I want people to be buying. I want them to want to buy from me. I want to be the tool guy people choose to buy from, because if I can just give you information that you need, or you just see something you like the price and want to buy, great. That's my role. I'll give you information. I'll help you with warranties. I'll compare stuff for you, whatever. I'll give you a choice in brands and stuff. That to me, I see my role. I want to help you buy what you want to buy. I don't want to sell you stuff. And yeah, does that mean I don't get every sale? Of course, I don't get every sale because of that. But that's just not my approach.
How many different Snap-on dealers have you known?
Ooh. Oh boy.
Rough estimate.
A dozen?
Okay. Now, do you think known them because you've driven by and waved, or like guys you've actually talked to, or at
guys
least
I've actually talked to?
All right, good.
And guys that we have customers in common with, so we talk about each other.
There you go. Perfect. How many of them has the brand gone to their head?
All but Pat Paulson.
Yeah, I was gonna say Pat Paulson's the only one I know, and Roscoe's my boy. I love Roscoe. He's my boy, but Snap-on's definitely gone to his head a little bit.
I think that's part of the environment, and I don't know if maybe Pat's insulated from that a little bit because he works for somebody who owns the route, and maybe I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about how it's structured, but I can understand how you kind of get, washed in the waters of Snap-on or whatever your franchise company is for that matter. I mean, I'm sure Brian is on the receiving end of it a lot, though he seems more immune from it than most guys are. So I think that there's, when I was a Mac dealer, they wanted you to drink that Kool-Aid, man. But I wouldn't do it. I always wanted to maintain some objectivity, because what earns trust is when people believe that you're being honest with them. And one thing that's going to make them not think that is if the thing you're selling is always the greatest. It's always better than everyone else's. And if you buy another one, you're making a mistake, right? Because what happens when you're no longer selling that brand? Are you going to take that approach with your next brand? Right? I mean, I got these two things. One is this brand, one's that brand, right? I'm not selling this brand. I sell this brand. So this is the greatest one because you got to buy it. Oh, I'm no longer with that company. This is the greatest one there is. Really? Why was the other one the greatest one it is? Well, it's because it's the brand I was selling at the time. Right? I mean, that destroys credibility when you do that. I won over a guy once. He was very skeptical of me. I was a Mac guy at the time. I had a used cart on the truck. It was a little beat up and it was a little wonky in some areas. And I knew this guy well enough to get a read on where I thought his standards were for buying a cart, right? So I wasn't confident he would be a good customer for this particular cart. I'd rather see a new guy who just needed some place to start sticking some tools, and he wouldn't mind to spend a couple $100 on a cart that had some problems, but it was used, so no big deal. So I'd rather get somebody in it like that than a guy who is further along in his career and wanted a nicer cart, right? So he's looking this cart over, and he says, I don't know, he's about this car. He goes, it's got this thing here, and blah, blah. I said, I know. I said, and if you turn around back, it's got to be dent in the back. I said, and one of those drawer slides is kind of wonky. I got to clean it up. I said, so, I said, it's not the greatest cart in the world. Yeah, all right. So he leaves, and, a week or so goes by, and he comes back on the truck. He said, he says, I'm starting to like you. I said, how come? He goes, because you weren't trying to convince me to buy this cart. I don't want, right? Like Brian said, I don't care what you buy as long as you're happy and don't get screwed, right? It is not in my best interest to have you unhappy with anything that you buy from me, especially, and it's even less in my interest to have you be unhappy with me, right? So what does that leave me? I don't have a choice. The only approach I can take is the honest one, and that's the only way to do it. Now other guys don't, and they still make a good living at it. So I guess it all depends on who you are as a person and what your own standards are. But that's the way I do it. And Brian, he's got a 60/40, 65/35 Mako third party. Yeah, I mean it's
you got a Mako truck. If you've got 35% of your inventory, third party, shoot, man. I mean, yeah, you're selling mostly Mako, but you're not saying Mako is the, it ends with Mako because you sell other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Roscoe he'll take a box in on trade. He'll put it on the truck and he'll stop his route and he'll go straight to his storage unit and take it off. And he might put it on Instagram, or I think he's even got a separate Instagram because he doesn't want it on his main Instagram because he doesn't want to be associated with anything but Snap-on. I'm like, dude, but you can sell these things on the truck probably a lot quicker. He's like, oh, I'm all right. He's like, my Snap-on boxes sell. I'm like, all right, well.
All right. I mean, we all have our approach. It just, I would not want to be in a position where I would feel like I had to hide something. Right. Because I was afraid of getting found out or someone would associate me with something. I wouldn't want to do that. Like if I was afraid that was going to hurt my reputation to be associated with something, I wouldn't be associated with it because I want to hurt my reputation. Right. That's me. I mean, it's, again, we all have our own.
And that's kind of how he said it. He says that, like, oh, if I get a Cornwall box, I don't want to have it on the truck with the Snap-on stuff because it kind of looks like I'm putting in secondary tools with my other. I'm like, oh, dude, I don't think that's the way to think about it, man. I really don't.
Think anybody would see it that way but him. And who knows? I mean, I don't know if Snap-on tells him stuff.
People get, I mean, I know guys who love to see a trade-in on the truck because they're going to get a good toolbox at a lot lesser of a price.
That's the deals people are looking for all the time. Yeah. Now, having said that, I'll say this. I've never known a Snap-on guy to have trouble selling a new toolbox.
No, that's true. He said that, right? And that's what he says. I sell plenty of boxes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not an issue. I mean, I realized very early on that I can sell a used toolbox, but I'm not going to try to sell new toolboxes. That is Snap-on's forte, and I will happily let them do that. JWC Tech says He had a main Snap-on guy who's supposed to retire with school, but definitely thought his shit didn't stink. New guy's pretty awesome. Yeah, it would be interesting to see if that changes over time. As he gets more and more into the Snap-on way of doing things, does his perspective change? And one thing I'm sure happens too, it depends on how well you're doing, right? Because Snap-on or any of the franchise companies, they're going to judge your effectiveness as a tool guy based on what you buy from them, not necessarily based on what you sell. Like Mac could not care less what I sold when I was a Mac guy. They only care about what I bought from them. And now, Brian, I don't know if Mac goes the same way, but as long as you were buying a lot of stuff from them, you were awesome in their book, and they would reward you based on how much you bought from them, not necessarily what you sold. They couldn't care less about that. So I'm sure, as that changes, maybe he's underperforming to their standard, right? And they're going to put some pressure on him. I know I underperformed to Mac's standard, but I perform very well to my own standard because, like Brian, a significant percentage of my total inventory wasn't Mac's. It was third-party stuff. My sales are doing really well, but Mac was mad at me because I wasn't buying from them. So that changed the conversation with Mac.
Lindsay, I'm going to refill my water. I'll be right back.
Yeah. And Brian says he always buys his Milwaukee tools in bundles, break them up, keep them at prices comparable to Home Depot. Man, that is the golden ticket for selling Milwaukee. And I try to do the same thing. I can't always sell for the Home Depot price. If I can get something like within $20 to $30 of Home Depot and still make a decent margin, then it always sells. And my Milwaukee shelf gets pretty empty pretty quick. One thing that I like to do is tier my pricing where I can offer three options, right? The pay now price is that really close to Home Depot price, or pay half of it now and finance half, and that is a certain amount more, or put the whole thing on your account, and that's the most expensive option. And it's nice to give people that choice because then they can determine what works for them. I can't lose because I'm going to make more money based on a longer time to pay it back, and it works out pretty well for both parties. And I particularly do that with my Milwaukee stuff when I buy it in bundles like that. And yeah, used boxes sell real fast. You're at 1,800 in the company? How many franchisees are there in the company? Don't say 1,800.
How many Cornwell franchisees do you think there are?
There's not many. I want to say a buddy of mine who deals Cornwell told me once that Cornwell capped it, that they didn't want more than, I forget the number he told me. It wasn't high. I was surprised it was as low as it was.
I know Gabe was like top 20 for Cornwell.
Wow.
18. Brian said there's 2,200.
18. Yeah. I mean,
well, you're in the top 75%.
Oh, 1,200. Yeah, that's about right. Yep. And if that's true that they want to cap that number and not get bigger than that, okay. But they're always going to have holes in their area, and it's one reason why people, I think, don't think that highly of Cornwell in general, in an area where they may not see a Cornwell guy for years, and then another one crops up, and then they don't give him much of a chance. And sure enough, he doesn't last that long because, they know they're going to cycle through them. In the rankings of mobile tool businesses for gross sales, Snap-on's number 1, Matco is number 2, Mac is number 3, independents are number 4, and Cornwell's last at 5.
I've heard that stat before, maybe from you, but I've heard that stat.
Maybe
yeah.
I read it in a trade magazine a while back where they did it's nice that and it's just like a mobile tool thing in general, so it doesn't cater to any one brand or any one franchise flag is it's about the industry. So anyone in any branded tool truck, no matter what it is, can find some value in that. And if that's still working for Cornwell, because as far as I know, there's still a family-owned business. So if it's working for them, great. But I mean, you get on a Cornwell truck, and you'll see a lot of the same brands that everybody else sells because they're selling a lot of third-party stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Gabe's truck more so than Robert's, than you guys, but I'm expecting it to change soon. But Gabe's truck, I mean, he had a lot of gear wrench, he had a lot of Vim, Lyle. A lot of stuff that wasn't. He had his Cornwell stuff.
Did he sell a lot of gray pneumatic?
Yeah, he had gray pneumatic on there. I saw Capri on there before because I remember he was selling the Capri thin wrenches. One day he had the Capri, the Vim, and the Cornwell Vin wrenches all on the truck in 3 different spots. But yeah, he's I think you and I talked about. You even looked them up. I can't remember where you found them, but he had these really good looking. I think they were gunmetal gear wrench, ratcheting wrenches, and you said that they weren't really made for the U.S. distribution or something like that. But you didn't know how he had a set, and I passed on them, and I told you, I said, if he has them on Wednesday, I'm going to get them. And when he came in on Wednesday, he didn't have them. He said, "Dude, I sold them at the next stop." I was like, "Oh man!"
That doesn't. When you have something, as I recall, those look pretty cool. And I had a conversation with an inside gear wrench rep about that. And gear wrench will, from time to time, have an exclusive deal with some retailer, and so they'll make something just for those guys. Still branded gear wrench, but they're going to make them in a high enough volume that's worth it to them to make some exclusive arrangement with somebody. So something like sometimes to do it like, I remember somebody asked about this huge set of sockets and extensions. I'm looking at the second one. I've never seen this before. And I asked him for a partner, but he gave it to me. I'm looking up, I can't find it anywhere. And that was my first lesson when I talked to a rep about it. He goes, "Oh no, we make that exclusively for, I forget what the there's like Napa or some big company." He says, "We make it for them. No one else has access to it." And I go, "Okay, that makes sense." So something like that may have been where it was just in some specialized market, goes to a specialized retailer, maybe it was Cornwell or whoever, and only they could get it.
Yeah, it was a nice set. I totally regret not getting it.
Yeah.
I think when we were talking about it, you found the picture of him on the internet. We shared it. We were talking about him, and you were like, "Yeah, dude, that's a great set, great price." And I was like, "Oh, dude, I'm gonna just get him. Then screw it."
Probably one of the funniest things that a tool guy can hear is when a customer gets on the truck and says, "Oh, if it's here next week, I'll buy it."
Yeah,
because that's the only time I feel salesy, because I'll say, "No, it won't." Sure enough, it's not. Or sometimes, like when Brian buys, bundled Milwaukee deals, I can do the pricing for what I have on the truck. Once it's sold, if you wanted me to order you one, I can't do it at this price because I purchase all this stuff as a bundle, and I can break it up and price it out differently, right? And that's the only time I feel salesy. If somebody does it, "I don't know if I want it," and I'll say, "Look," now I feel like I'm putting pressure on the guy when I say, this is the last one I got in this bundle. Once this is gone, so goes the pricing. And I would feel bad if I thought that people thought I was just putting pressure on them, but it's the God's honest truth. And then, you run the risk of having to say the next week, "Sorry, man, it's back up to this price now."
I recently in fairness, I'd had it since December, and I had never used it. So it wasn't like it was something I used a lot. And it wasn't a tool; it was a Bluetooth player. It was the Matco Bump Box, the big one that they have. I won it because I made a payment, an arranged payment, when Harry was. It was only available to his Thursday and Friday stops because Thanksgiving was going to be, Thursday and Friday, nobody was going to work. So Harry was going to work. So he made a deal with his Thursday and Friday customers only that if you make arranged payments for your next week, you'll get in the raffle. And I'm his last stop on Friday. So I had a chance to look at the raffle tickets. I said, dude, that's all you've got in there? And he's like, yeah. So I could have got my ticket, paid my $50 and got a ticket. Or I said, dude, he had also said, if you make a $100 ticket, you get 10 tickets or something like that. And I was like, man, there looked to be 15 tickets in there maybe. So I said, dude, screw it, Harry, run $100 next week. And I got the 10 tickets. I didn't pay $100 for raffle tickets. I made a payment towards my account, and I got 10 tickets. And I won. Next week he came in and he brought it to me. I was like, now granted, since then it's sat there. And a buddy of mine knew it was there. He's like, oh, dude, he's like, let me buy that from you. He's like, how much is it? I said, dude, I don't know how much it costs. I didn't buy it. I want it. And I said, tell you what, dude, I'm gonna make me an amount. I don't care what the amount is. If it's a decent amount, I said, how do you say it? If whatever you say, I'll sell it to you for. But then that just determines whether you'll ever do business with him again like that, right? And he's like, yeah, okay, you sure? He's like, so if I told you $50, do you sell? I said, dude, make me an offer. And he's like, I'll give you $100. And I was like, all right, take it then. And I gave it to him for $100.
Wow.
Now, because I told him I was going to take whatever offer he made. I know that it was brand new. It had never been used. I wanted it to be on Harry's truck, and I was the owner. We looked it up. It was like, I looked it up. It was like, I think $400 or $500 on the Matco truck. If you look them up just online, they were about $300. So I don't know if I did well or if I didn't do well. I made $100 off something that I don't know. I probably could have put on eBay and made $250 or $300 on, but that's work. I don't want to do all that.
Right. Money in your hand right now kind of makes all that other stuff go away,
Yeah.
Well, I had a guy.
But I'm not sure if I'll ever make that deal with him again. I in my head, I was thinking he was gonna say, "Oh, dude, I'll give you $150 or maybe $200." But if I was thinking $150 and he said $100, that wasn't that far off. I shouldn't be, and I'm not upset. It's like it was whatever. I'd had it almost a year, and I never even moved it from where I put it when I brought it home. It just sat there.
I'll do that with guys. I'll do a name your price game, and it's when I got something that I really can't lose on. Right there's maybe I got it as part of a bundle deal. Maybe I got it as a promotional item for free, or maybe I've already made my money. Selling some other things where I don't care what it sells for. So I'll do a name your price game, and the rules are very simple. And I tell people, don't say anything until I tell you the rules, right? Because guys like to throw out numbers right away. I'm like, just hold on. The rules are whatever number comes out of your mouth, that's what you're going to pay for this. Don't say anything yet. I said, but know this: it will determine if we ever play the game again, and it's a measure of your moral character.
I should have done that. I should have said that.
Right. And the expression on their faces change when I say it's a measure of your moral character.
You know why what gets me the most is because, like I said, this thing is. It's huge, right? It's freaking huge, and it's nice. Now I also bought one that looks like an old school page. I paid for the one. Looks like a pager. You know the ones that beep 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 used to have.
Yeah.
It's about that size, and I paid $105 for that one.
Mm-hmm.
So one that I can fit in the palm of my hand that I know I paid $105 for, versus one that I can't show on the screen because it's too big. And then Brian's telling me it's worth 500 plus. I'm like, you know what? It's only worth what someone will offer you right there and then, Brian.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's when you really find out what stuff is worth. When you say to somebody, you tell me what it's worth, and that is what you will pay for it. Period. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to say that's too low. No, the number that you say is the number you will buy this for. Period. And in fact, it happened last week where I've got some used Matco stuff that it's like an Infinium Impact and a couple of other things. And the guy who owns it's the older stuff with brushed motors. It's old. It's kind of beat up. The guy who gave it to me says, "Can you see what you can get for me?" I said, "Sure." Right. So he doesn't care what I sell it for as long as I give him something. I already sold a ratchet out of the box of stuff he gave me. And the ratchet, I didn't name your price. I said to the kid, name your price on the ratchet. He goes, $100. I'm like, fine. Right. Now, do I think $100 is too much? I do. But it's what it was worth to him. Okay. That's fair. Right. If you wanted to pay less, you should have said so. You would have paid it. And I told him, these are the rules of the game. Whatever you say, you will buy, you will buy that for. $100. Okay. $100. And then later on that same day, a guy got in the truck and picked up the 1/2-inch Impact. And he goes, how much? Now, I had written on the box, it says, name your price. I said, here's the rules, blah, blah, blah. He says, $50. I said, okay. He goes, really? I said, those are the rules of the game, dude. I said, whatever number you say is the number you will pay for that. And he kind of looked sheepish. He puts it back on the shelf, just walked off the truck. I'm like, wait, you named your price. I said, okay. Do you want to buy? Oh, that was weird. I don't know.
That's funny. He knew.
He knew, right?
I should have used that moral compass line, though.
People's faces change when you say that because they realize, oh, I'm being judged. Yes, I will judge you, but you'll still get it for whatever price you want. Well, Brian, this is interesting. He's talking about those bump boxes. You don't want to try to warranty the bump box. You have to take a video proving it doesn't work. I've never heard of that. I've never worked with a company.
It wouldn't be that hard, would it? If it doesn't work, you just.
Will you take a video of it not playing music? There, it doesn't work.
That's what I was just going to say.
I mean, that's weird. That is strange, dude. Okay. Here's a video of the bump box not doing anything. Can I have a new one? I mean, I don't know how to get my head around that. Prove it doesn't work. Well, I'm sure the few don't work when they first get them in. Yeah, a few DOAs. Now, years ago, a guy said to me, he bought a bump box off a Matco truck, and he was telling me, oh, these things are the greatest. You really should sell these. And a few other guys in the shop had them. I'm like, yeah, I'll see what bump box has for dealers. And they do have a dealer program. You sign up for it, and they give you some percentage off the list price. So they build in a small margin for you, not much. And but your minimum order is like $2,000. I'm like, I'm not going to put $2,000 into a speaker lineup that I'm only going to make 15% off of.
How are the K2 ones selling? I know you put some more back. You put some more back on your truck. You said they got more, or there was what? If you bought so many from one distributor, you were able to make it work where you can keep them on the truck again, something like that.
Yeah, I can make it work because they had a 6-speaker bundle deal that if I bought them, then it knocked my price per unit down, which worked out way better for me because their per unit price got kind of high. And I didn't want to sell them for that, so I wasn't going to buy them. And then they gave me a promo on this 6-pack. I'm like, yeah, fine, I'll do the 6-pack. And it's been they sell regularly, and they're pretty solid units.
Coast Light still selling well?
all the time, all the time. Those are just it's great. It's a great brand. I love their products, and since they came out with that new work light, that's been selling pretty good because it's the only one I know with a lifetime warranty. I don't know anyone else has a work light with a lifetime warranty, so I'm stoked to be able to do that. And it's not that expensive compared to other. In fact, it's like there's 1,700 lumen models, like $120. Which given its features and the warranty and all, it's less than I've seen comparable lights for 150 plus. So it's even less money, and I think the quality is very good. Those Streamlight keychain lights, those are called the Pocket Mate lights. Those sell occasionally during the year, but as soon as Thanksgiving hits, they sell like crazy between Thanksgiving and Christmas because they're such great gifts and stocking stuffers. So I go heavy into them. I'll buy a bunch of them in October, and most of them will be gone. Probably the week or two before Christmas.
Now, are those the ones that they look like on a keychain, but it's a tiny baby little stinger? Because I've seen that, and I think does a stinger make also like a little square one that goes on the back of a keychain? It looks like almost like a computer chip.
Yeah, I'll show you here. They don't look like the stinger. They are their own thing.
Because years ago, I bought my wife a couple, probably for Christmas, probably around Christmas time. But they were keychain because where she works, she actually has to open doors and stuff like that. So it's perfect because she works at night. Okay, yeah, that's one. Is there a style that was before this, maybe 20 years before this?
That one I'm not familiar with. This one, that's less like that square portion. That's less than an inch square, and then you can see in the upper right there a little carabiner.
Yeah,
that you clip on the keychain. What you don't see around the back is the clip for your hat brim, but you can see where the clip attaches to the barrel up front by the light there.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, the black part of the barrel.
Underneath it's a clip you can slide on a ball cap brim. But it's
the
such
one
a
that
solid
I used to get. You still, it was a stinger, but it was too small for a little button. You twisted it to turn it on.
I'm not familiar with that one. No.
Yeah, it was. Shoot, it was probably more than 20 years ago. Then I want to say I worked at an Orange County Ford dealership, so that would have been like the early to mid 2000s. So yeah, about 20 years ago.
Really? I don't know. They've been coming up with some new stuff that looks pretty good. I mean, I'm between Streamlight and Coast, you can't go wrong. And in fact, Brian asked me a while back about a headlamp recommendation for Coast, and I gave him some part numbers. Apparently, they're on back order.
Oh man.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Brian. They're is that all through New Tool that you get those, or have you tried them through Medco or any of those guys? Oh, Jason, those are crazy popular lights. Those little like the LED strips with the side light and the motion. Those things are dirt cheap, and yeah, I mean you get them at a lower price than I can get them for. But I mean, if I order them I looked into these. I could order them directly from a manufacturer in China, kind of like what I do with gloves now, which had a ridiculously low price on them. But I had to buy, I think, 100 units at a time, which wasn't not a huge deal at all for those. You could sell 100 of those pretty easily. But I think I kind of reached market saturation on them. I haven't sold those in. I don't think I've sold them in a long time. When I first got them, they were selling like crazy, and they were selling as fast as I can get them. But yeah, since then I haven't sold in a while. Yeah, Mako new tool for the Coast. ISN and Medco usually have a pretty good inventory of those in their warehouses. But that's a horrible reality that's been that way since COVID and all the shops see with parts is back orders and how long we're waiting on stuff to come in. I just got in something that I've been waiting. See when I order these. All right, I order these. I don't see the original order date on these, but this thing is a customer mentioned it to me over a year ago. And I don't know how easily you can tell what they do here, but it's this magnetic nut holder where it's from Milton, who makes mostly air fittings. So I was very surprised to see this from them. It's this little piece that just clips onto the beam of your wrench and a little magnet on the end of it, and you just slide it to the end of your wrench. And that magnet sits in the back side of either the open end or the box end, and you just put your nut on it. It holds the nut on the wrench while you start the nut. Great idea. Handy little thing. And it took me over a year to get these because they were on back order for that long. And one customer asked me for them. I have to buy them in a 12-pack. So I'm thinking, well, if he likes it, somebody else will probably like it. So they finally came in. I put them on the truck, and I was so stoked because I was going to surprise the guy who wanted them. But the night I went to his shop, he was on vacation. Meanwhile, everybody else has been buying them, and I'm running the risk of not having any for him unless I put them aside. I'll put one aside for him for sure, but those.
Yeah, that's what it resembles, something like that, where you had to twist it. But I used to those are the ones that I remember buying. I never bought the one that you showed. I mean, I probably will, but maybe this Christmas.
Huh.
Yeah, it looked like that.
That's a pretty cool light.
I'm back. Oh, sorry. Stop sharing first.
TW20 Craig is here. Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us at this late hour.
So you sold out on those magnetic net holders that quick?
I'm getting close. I gotta put a couple aside for the guy who originally wanted them. It would be a dirty trick to say, good news, bad news.
Are you going to get the Spork this year?
The CRKT Spork?
Yeah.
Thing, I don't know why that's so popular, but yeah, I'll get them. And then I found that Vim has these little keychains, and they have a 10 millimeter ratcheting box end wrench, and then just like a little split ring for keys. But they're not available right now. And I want to get a bunch of those because those are going to be really popular.
Oh, that's going to be really popular.
10 millimeter ratcheting box end wrench. All these little things make a big difference. And like you were saying earlier about getting on someone's truck because he's got stuff that somebody else isn't going to have, those little things make a big difference. And if people know you to be the guy that's got those things, they'll get on the truck. And that helps, even if it might be something small, a $10 item or whatever. Batteries are another thing. Have batteries. And, it's one of those things that makes you known for having that stuff that somebody else doesn't have. Because we all sell so many similar tools that it's difficult to differentiate yourself necessarily. Like we were talking about before, you get on a Cornwall truck and you get on my truck, you're going to see a lot of the same stuff. So how are we different from each other? Well, we both still Milwaukee, Vim, Lyle, Gear Wrench, whatever, right? But if I'm the guy that's got that specialty tool that he doesn't have, or he's got something I don't have, then it's going to give you a reason to get on our trucks. And that's where you're going to see a lot of your differentiation there.
Yeah, I see the Vim guy holding in their most recent video with Coon Trucking. Was that the video that was like an hour long? I know Clay had like an hour long video talking to the Vim guys.
Oh,
I'm gonna admit I didn't watch that one. I mean, I see the I see the Vim tools, up close and personal twice a week. So
yeah, and Brian's right. I sell pew-pews, which is a big differentiator too. And
you can't sell them off the truck, or do they have to go to your house?
No, they can't even go to my house. I have to lease an office for it.
Oh, an office.
So I have a sales office just to do the gun sales because by law, that is, you have to do your sales and transfers in a commercial retail space. And you have to get permission from either the landowner or your landlord or whoever you're leasing it from. And that has to be in your lease agreement that you're selling guns. And the ATF has to sign off on all that before they issue your federal license. So they can be shipped here to my house, but I can't sell them and I can't have them on the truck. But what I can have on the truck is lots of conversations about guns, and I can carry accessories and things that people are going to find interesting to put on their guns and stuff, common items. And we do a lot of shopping because I can show my customers my online catalogs from my distributors. And we can work out the pricing, availability, all the rest of it. I can set them up on a payment plan so that, when they get the money in their account, I get the gun, so it's all paid for already. We do a lot of that. And then, when stuff comes in, I just tell them, hey, it's in. We'll set up an appointment to come grab it. And the nice thing about selling guns is I'm not limited to my tool customer base because I can sell guns to people outside that. But tools, because it's a tool truck, you're really only going to sell to your tool truck customers. But I can sell a gun to people outside that, which is nice. So it's always good to have something like that differentiates you, and it's really great. It's fun. It's interesting to introduce myself to a new customer or even go to a new shop. I start handing out my business card because my card says on it, tools and firearms. And man, you never see eyes light up like people do when they see that you sell guns. It's hilarious. It's, I make a lot of friends really quick that way. In fact, I took on a new shop 2 weeks ago because I had one customer, a good customer of mine, left the shop he was at and went to a different shop. I didn't know the shop was where it is. I hadn't even heard of it. So I said, I'll go down and check it out. Plus I owed him some stuff anyway. Stuff he ordered came in. So I go there. It's a good sized shop. They have about 8 or 9 techs. And when I went in my whole approach when I go to a new shop is to meet the manager first, talk to him, introduce myself, and see if he'll allow me to do business there. And so I walk in, I meet the general manager. He's really enthusiastic to see me. And I hand him my business card, and man, did he get really happy when he saw that I sell guns. And that just changes the conversation. And now people, want to see me for more than just tools.
Oh, that's got to be cool, man. That's really got to separate you from the competition.
It does. And it's nice when you get that relationship going with people who know you for certain things like that. And it's even better when, in this case, where I had a customer of mine, he bought guns from me in the past and he buys lots of tools. He went to the shop and then he'll start selling people on the idea of doing business with me too. Because then he'll say, oh, he sells guns too. And I don't have to then sell the idea that someone else is doing that for me. And that feels really good.
Oh,
doesn't every
cool.
shop in Texas sell guns? Sure seems like it.
That's why I always thought it was pretty funny on the King of the Hill show when Bobby was starting to shoot, and that was something that like Hank actually liked. And Bobby tells Hank, he's like, Dad, can I put a gun rack on my bike? And Hank kneels down and grabs his shoulders and real serious says, Bobby, do you know how long I've been waiting for you to ask me that?
I'm so proud. Makes you shed a tear. Man, it's 2:00 in the morning here. We still have 27 people on.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man.
What's going on, man? You guys don't like to go to sleep. Ooh.
You getting the cold, Lindsay?
No, it's allergies.
Oh.
Yeah, my nose is stuffy all the time. But allergies here are, they're all, there's no time of the year where you don't have them, I think.
Well, plus you said it's so dry over there.
Now it is, but
doesn't Buc-ee's have a gun section? Dude.
It's like the only thing they don't sell.
Oh.
I was supposed to go to sleep 2 hours ago. Whoops.
I am pretty stoked, though. Usually, Saturday night on a late live stream, I'm having a good time, but thinking, man, tomorrow's already Sunday. But I don't got to worry about Monday this week. That's
why I don't feel so bad. Like I gotta smoke a brisket. I gotta start in a couple hours. So I'm like, I'm up anyway. I don't care.
Is it for Monday?
No, it's for Sunday. Later on, it's Sunday. So we're gonna. Yeah, my parents are. They live about 20 minutes from us, and we'll get together with them as often as we can. Usually, we'll either go to them, bring them food, or we'll come pick them up and bring them here. We'll cook for them or something. Just hang out for the afternoon and make a meal and stay with them, keep them company.
How big's your brisket?
It's a small one. It's about 10 pounds.
How long does that take?
About 6 hours, maybe. It shouldn't take very long. And my wife picked it up a while back, so we threw it in the freezer. But we're having a bunch of people over for something. A bunch of family are coming over. So we'll get a bigger brisket for everyone. We'll keep this one in the freezer. And then we said, hey, we should smoke that brisket up this weekend and bring it over to them. So we'll hang out with them later on today and give them some dinner and probably take a nap at their house.
Oh, I do that all the time at my mom's house. I'll get down there. She'll be, talking to Matthew and hanging out. And I'm just going to go watch TV. And I don't even turn the TV on. I just sit on her couch. Like 5 minutes later, it's like.
Seems like no matter how old I am, my parents always had really comfortable couches.
Oh.
Even when I was a kid growing up, man, you'd hit that couch, you were done. And now that I've been living on my own for 30 plus years, and their couches are always like these nap traps. You just sit on, next thing you know, you're out.
Especially on Thanksgiving, man.
Oh. Well, we usually do all the cooking for holidays and stuff. So when we have family get-togethers, it's usually at our place.
Okay.
Because my mom does not like cooking. She's never liked cooking. She was never terribly good at it. She's funny because when I got into cooking years ago, I was taking some online classes, and so I rolled in a few online courses and really wanted to make a commitment to learning how to cook better. And my mom does not understand the level of dedication to cooking something well and learning how to do it. And she gets confused by it. So it's kind of funny to see her just say, why are you going through so much trouble Why do you do this? Because I enjoy it. I want to give you a nice meal. I like, she doesn't get that.
Had a guy come to the Chevy dealership trying to sell steaks when I was in there doing my rounds. Oh, he kicked him out. Hey, those guys who have the frozen steaks coming knocking on your doors, are those is that usually any good meat?
I don't know guys like that, but there's a place called Snake River Farms that usually around the holidays, my stepdaughter will buy me some spectacular steaks, like Wagyu steaks from these guys. And this stuff's expensive, but it is fantastic. So I don't know. I guess it depends on where they get them from, but Brian says no.
I remember when I was a kid once, a guy came to our house and he had a truck. It looked like a pickup truck. I mean, it didn't look not even a full size. It seemed like a little mini Toyota or something like that. But I remember it had the freezer on top of it or whatever to keep it cold. And my mom and stepdad, they bought a box. And in the box, I remember there was like links and steaks. And I think there was a roast or something. And they bought a lot of meat. They probably spent $300 and it was a lot of meat. But we had one of those. It was just a freezer out in the garage, so we could take. It was fine to store meat because that's what it was for. But yeah, and I remember we ate it. I don't remember thinking anything. I was young, I wasn't like, oh, this meat's great steak, pourable steak. I didn't know. I was glad I was being fed,
right.
But I don't know. I got to ask my mom. I'm going to see her tomorrow for breakfast. I'm going to ask her, hey, whatever. When we did that, did we like that meat?
Well, it wasn't until I got, I think, well into my 20s that I never really appreciated good quality meat because, my mom not being much of a cook and not liking to cook and growing up when she did, because she was born in 1935. So she's really old school in how she thinks about a lot of things. And it took me years, I'm talking like into my 20s, to realize that steak, when it was cooked, wasn't gray inside. That wasn't my frame of reference was overcooked, dry, leathery beef. Right? That's the way my mom cooked. Because she was of the mindset that if it's not overdone, then it's underdone, right? Properly cooking something to the right temperature was just not something that she did. And when she bought meat, it wasn't high grade. Like it wasn't, she would never buy prime. Maybe it was choice or something, or select even. It wasn't really, so you're growing up on subpar meat, and as a result I never had steak at a restaurant because I thought I knew what steak was. As far as I knew, that's what steak was, or that's what any beef was. And I remember once being in a restaurant and someone at a table next to us ordered steak, and I look at that steak, I'm like, that looks fantastic. And I watched them cut into it. Man, it's red inside
and juicy.
What? Right? I'm blown away. What? Right? But there was, steak's always expensive on a restaurant menu, so I would never order it. Well, that all changed, when Kathy and I got together and we started cooking for each other, and I started learning more about stuff, and that just changed my whole outlook, on stuff when we started getting together on stuff. And so, since then I really enjoy a good steak now, but it took me a long time to get there.
Up until a few years ago, I would always cut the fat off my meat. I mean, wouldn't even try it.
Yeah.
And I missed a piece one day, and I accidentally, I bit it and I ate it, and I was like, as it melted in my mouth and my head just exploded, I was like, oh my God, what have I been missing these last 40 years?
Right?
Man. Blew my mind how good the fat tastes, man. Wow.
I remember having a My wife and I went to a fairly nice restaurant, and they had. She had a New York strip. I had a ribeye. It was a nice restaurant. They had this really nice, like you could put together this beautiful cheese platter for an appetizer, and you could choose your cheeses, and they give you like figs and fruit and honeycomb with it. It was just a delicious setup. And then we ordered our steak. We were eating this steak, and I remember like just like halfway through, we both stopped and just kind of looked up and looked at each other, and like a tear is like coming down our cheeks. Like it was just so good. Right?
Wow.
And then when you just kind of sit back and we're just kind of staring at each other like that was otherworldly. It was just a beautiful, wonderful experience. Great steak in a nice restaurant, and they just nailed the preparation of it. And, I mean, it can be that good. Once you have an $80 ribeye, nothing's going to compare to that.
Yeah, Roscoe and I go grab ribeyes every once in a while.
Yeah.
Just hang out, have a beer and a steak.
Nice.
And I'll tell you, broccoli raw, I guess I could, steamed, I could eat it, but it's not like the greatest vegetable, but it absorbs the meats that it's cooked with so well. Because when it tastes like a steak, man, broccoli is great. I'll tell you, it's got the juices of the steak. You're eating your broccoli.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I'll tell you another concept in cooking that blew my mind. When I started taking cooking classes, was the idea of glazing your pan with your protein, chicken, steak, fish, whatever. More chicken and steak than fish, but pork. Right? You cook it so that you're browning one side, right? And then you flip it and you brown the other side. And when you do that, it leaves something behind in the bottom of the pan. That's called the glaze or the fond. And I didn't realize that was the goal, right? Because growing up, I thought that meant you just burned it. Right? Right? Because this is my frame of reference, right? This is my mom being the only cooking influence I had. And I didn't realize that, no, that's the goal, right? Because that stuff, that's gold. You can't buy that. That's the most flavorful thing you'll ever make, is the fond in the bottom of your pan. And then deglazing your pan is to take something with a high moisture content or even like stock or something like that, putting it in the pan, and then getting all that stuff off the bottom. And now you're making a pan sauce. That's the stuff that you want to put on your steak, right? I didn't know any of this stuff, right? But so I'm learning this. I'm like, my God, here's all the flavor. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And just the things you can do. I'm like, geez, Louise, I have, my mind has just been opened up to all kinds of things. I had no idea. I was missing out on this for, years. Yeah. Poor Brian didn't have that good experience with Iowa steak.
Man.
That's a bummer. Oh, by the way, JWC Tech asked you a question, Jude. I don't know if you saw this.
I wasn't even aware they were. Oh, I guess it's Labor Day. I figured they probably have something going on, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure if there's anything right now that I had in mind. Usually, kind of like what you're saying, you think you have something in mind, the angle wrench that you want to go check out. Nothing off the top of my head that I can think of that I would go there for right now. But I'm a tool junkie. Sometimes I just like to go walk around that store and I'll see something that looks cool and I'll pick it up.
Yep. Christian, why are you awake?
Is that Christian?
That's Christian.
Christian, what's up, man?
You're still hanging in there. Good for you.
Yeah,
Are you supposed to be awake? It's past your bedtime.
No, man, it's a holiday. It's weekend. I'm good.
Your voice might be a little high for his.
Yeah, maybe. Still waiting for the Ryobi video. Was I going to make a Ryobi video? Did I? Man, I say all the time. I say, "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And then I don't even remember. By the time I'm done saying it, I don't remember saying it. What Ryobi video was I going to make? Remind me if it clicks in my head. I'll be like, "Oh, dude, maybe I'll do that tomorrow." I ain't got nothing to do. I'll go walk around Home Depot.
Somebody caught me on that because at the end of my videos, I always say things like, keep watching because we got videos that are going to be blah, 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 right? I mentioned doing a video on something that I did not make a video on, right? And somebody asked me about that. Well, we need to do a video. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's one of my customers that watches the channel regularly. And he said, well, you said at the end of one video, I'm like, first of all, you watched the video to the end? Like, I don't think too many people did that. And then in fact, I remembered that I was going to make a video on something I didn't make. I'm like, ooh, I guess I owe him a video.
Yeah, I don't think I can honestly say I don't think I've ever done a follow-up, other than a tool that I said I'll let you guys know how I like it. Oh, I walk by the Ryobi and says, "Who buys that shit?" and have a cart full waiting. Oh, and it's like I'm buying it.
After you question who buys it.
Okay, I gotta. Man, okay, I don't remember. Now I vaguely remember talking about this. I do, but yeah, I can do that. That's not that big of a deal. Just gonna have to put it all back after. And be like, man, who buys this stuff? And then I can have my son be like, Dad, we're next in line. And I turn to him and he's got our cart. Okay, nothing but Ryobi in there.
Don't tell your mom.
I see channels though, popular channels, but not necessarily like in our community. Just leave it there. Okay. No, but I see channels like that. My son watches. Like my son's 12, and most of these channels that he watches are like 20-something-year-old people, but they're trying to get the 12-year-olds to watch. They're building ponds and water parks and skate ramps and all kinds of stuff. They're doing all this stuff my kid wants to watch. And they'll say, "Oh, we're going to build this slide that's going to go into the pond that we built, and we want to thank Ryobi for sending us all the tools." And they do all their builds with the Ryobi tools they're big channels, and they're getting their tools sent to them for free, and they're using them to build all this stuff for the kids to watch. So the kids are seeing everything get done with Ryobi. And my son last says, "Dad, why are they using Ryobi?" Well, because they gave it to him, dude.
Yeah, you didn't choose them.
Yeah.
I often wondered about that, like videos getting sponsored or getting all that stuff for free from a. It seems like that happens a lot. I just wonder.
Even recently, now this is more in our community, but Chris Fix used to use a lot of Milwaukee tools, and I'm pretty sure he bought them. I mean, not a lot, but the few, because most of his videos are for basic hand tools. Yeah. He says that because he wants everybody to be able to do stuff with basic hand tools. But once in a while, he'd need a power tool, and it would be a Milwaukee tool. And I want to say I saw him get or even talk about getting a sponsorship with Ryobi for one of the builds that he did, and he got a lot of Ryobi tools.
Hey, if they want to get the name out there, it's one way to do it, I suppose. Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Some free Milwaukee.
Oh, okay, there we go. I can walk by. Who buys this crap? And then see a cart full, like empty, and I always said nobody does. I guess there's an empty cart full of stuff. There's a cart full of stuff in it. Nobody around. That is a good video. I should do something. I got to work on the script, but I'll do that. I'll definitely do that, and it'll be up by next weekend. Give me 1 second.
Trying to see if I got anything else here worth mentioning in the tool haul. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I have is just kind of plain vanilla stuff that you've seen a million times in other tool hauls. But I'm going to shoot a video with all this stuff in it, so it's
I like
that in a couple of weeks. So
it's cool when you see the stuff that we've seen before. Yeah. Because we were seeing what's moving, like, oh yeah, people are buying this stuff. I bought one of those recently. Oh, that's cool.
And it's always somebody's first time watching. So even though you may have seen, like I got a gear wrench tap and die sitting here. I can't tell you how many times I've shown a gear wrench tap and die set in a tool haul video. But guess what? There's going to be another one because it's always going to be somebody's first time watching it. So there's a lot of repetition for the regular viewers, but hopefully it's enough that's different that there's something interesting for everybody at least.
You selling a lot of the new gear wrench ratchets?
No, because they're always on back order.
Oh, gee.
But every time I get them in, they sell, but I can't get many at a time, and then I have to wait months to get them in again. Since the beginning of the year, I've only got 2 shipments in. And so, they're gone as soon as they come in, and I gotta wait forever.
Gear wrench make impact sockets?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I've never really had problems with them, but I've always opted for Sunex or Gray Pneumatic because the pricing's a little bit better, and you get a different variety in their sets because all Gray Pneumatic does is make impact grade tools. So you can pretty much get it in Gray Pneumatic no matter what it is that you're looking for. Sunex has very good selections as well, and the prices are excellent. Gear Wrench has very good base selection, but I wouldn't look for anything real specialized from them. And the pricing tends to be a little bit more than Sunex and Gray Pneumatic.
Okay.
Wow, that's a nice giveaway, Brian. The Nipex twin grip pliers. He bought 20, going to give 5 away once all 20. That's really nice.
You sell a lot of Nipex?
It depends on what it is. Like the twin grip pliers sell all the time. Their Cobra pliers sell all the time, but I don't put much on the truck for specialty stuff because the pricing goes way up. And they're priced out of most people's budgets. When you can choose to get a similar tool under the Irwin brand or Klein or one of those brands and pay less for it, people usually tend to do that. So I don't have a huge Nipex selection, but the stuff I do have, I'm confident is going to sell because either it's unique or it's priced particularly well. And those twin grip pliers, the pricing is I think $55, which surprised me that it's not $80 for those things. But the pricing's always been good on those.
Yeah, a lot of people like those. I always hear people buy those. Now, when you sell the Cobras, what's the most popular size sold? Probably the 10-inch?
The 3-piece set, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
With was it a 7, a 10, and a 12-inch in there? I think. That 3-piece set sells all the time. I rarely sell them individually.
I only have one. Well, I have a 10, but it is a Nipex, but it's branded Monster Mobile.
Yeah.
It also says, but that was given to me, but I bought the 12. Don't use the 10. I grab all the time. The 12 is just a little too big for most automotive. Yeah.
And their pliers wrenches are popular. People will buy the 2-piece set that's got the 5 and the 7-inch ones in them. And Jason asks if we saw the new Craftsman Overdrive 180 tooth ratchets. No. And the RBRT wrenches. Oh, no, I have not. Have you, Jude?
No, neither one. And the wrenches are going to drop in stores, or they're going to come on the Mack trucks. Supposed to try.
Unless Max changed their policy, they're never going to carry Craftsman on the trucks because, and this I never understood. The official reason I was told when I was a Mac dealer was because they wanted to keep the Mac trucks carrying the premium branded stuff. To which I said, so why are we carrying Expert? They didn't have a good answer for that one.
It makes sense to go. I mean, it's such a well-known line to make that your secondary line up in there. I mean,
I don't get it.
They probably get buried with warranties.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a big reason why. Tarek says he likes the size range with gray pneumatic. I don't think I've ever looked for something they didn't have. They'll even one-off sockets. Years ago I had to order a 77 millimeter socket for somebody, and it took 3 months to get it, but they shipped it.
Tarek's got a 70 millimeter ratchet, not ratchets, wrench. Not a socket. It's a wrench that he's got gold plated. He's got two. I think he's got an Armstrong and a Proto, both 70 millimeter wrenches. I don't know which one got gold plated. I don't remember.
Wow.
'81. Yeah, I did see that Oregon. Come on, they played Portland State, dude. The Tool Bear dropped the videos Thursday or Friday. Can't remember. I'm not familiar with the Tool Bear.
Is that Den of Tools guy?
Oh, probably is. If that's what he's talking about. Yeah. I haven't. It's probably been 2 years since I've seen a video from his channel.
I don't watch his channel. When I first started my channel up, I was just looking around to see, what formats other people are doing and what's working and not, because he has a popular channel, but I honestly don't understand why.
It's pretty much what I did. I watched a few of his videos, and it got like, man, I don't pretty much why am I watching this? Why do people watch this? And I just kind of stopped, and then I hadn't watched it for a long time, and then Ed and Jehu and Dale talked me into going to one of his live streams that he was having, because he's friends with Ed, Dale, and Jehu. They were all moderators. They're all moderators on his channel.
Okay.
So I was thinking, why is he having a live stream on a day that he knows his friends do their live stream? It was a Tuesday night, at 6:00. So I asked that question. I said, hey, if you got friends who do a live stream on this day, why are you doing your live stream today? And he said, oh, I don't know when people do anything or when people do live streams. And I said, dude, they're moderators on your channel. How do you not know? And then he said, enough of this Power Stroke Jude guy. He's banned. He kicked me out. So I told Ed and Dale and Jehu, I said, dude, I hadn't watched that channel in a year. I'm like, and you begged me to go to this live stream and interact. I asked a couple of simple questions that I didn't think were, maybe they were little dick questions, but they weren't super dick questions. And I'm like, dude, whatever, dude. So I just clicked that do not recommend. So now I haven't seen. Now it's been another 2 years and I haven't seen a video from his channel.
Yeah, every now and then, it's a suggested video for me, but I don't generally watch it unless he's changed his format. But I just never understood why are you showing an animated bear, while you're talking, Yeah, it's not a shame to show his face. He does live streams and stuff. So, what's the bear thing do? I don't know. Just to be you,
That conversation I told you that I had with Tool Demos when I was driving to the beach that day,
Yeah.
I do remember his channel came up, and he said he doesn't do that anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because, and I don't think this is fact, but he said he thinks maybe the reason why is because if something about a channel being meant for kids, like maybe that'll attract kids. They're going to see a cartoon mirror, they're going to want to watch it, but you can't monetize those videos. It was like a new rule YouTube made or something like that. So like he says
Really?
he thinks that's why he stopped.
That's interesting.
I have been clicking a lot of do not recommend lately.
Yeah.
I've only done that, Tarek, probably to maybe ever 5 or 10 channels. That are in our community. Sometimes when I'm looking through my feed, I'm like, dude, why in the heck is this on here? There's, I've never watched this, so I'll just do not recommend. I'm like, that's nothing I'd ever watch. Yeah. I'm like the news reporter asking the president a question. It's like people are getting a second win. Tarek hadn't commented for a while. Now he's back. Shannon hadn't commented for a while. Now he's back.
Well, we've been doing this for so long. People had a chance to go take a nap, wake back up.
Yeah, pretty bad. Going on, right? We're at 3 hours right now.
Oh my God, we are. We should probably call it. I got to get ready to. I got to prep my brisket.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's not as late for me as it is for you, but I do got to be at my mom's house at 8 tomorrow for breakfast. So I got to get Matthew's still up, so I'm gonna have to get him to bed and up to get to my mom's house.
The getting up part that's mostly difficult. Yeah, Brian, I haven't started the brisket. I got to take it out and start getting it prepped and get my smoker going. So.
All right, well, Lindsay, man, thanks for having me, dude. It was a fun stream, man. We had a lot of good laughs, a lot of good topics. I like seeing the tools firsthand. That's cool.
I'm always happy that you're willing to jump on and join me, and it keeps the conversation rolling. And I always appreciate your perspective. So thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
Oh, whenever you want, man. Thank you, and thank you for having me. That's the same reasons I like having you on my streams, man. It's just it makes the streams go by a lot faster and fun. Like I said, 3 hours. When I looked up right now, I said, holy cow, 3 hours.
Yeah. It's a fast 3 hours.
Yeah. But everyone, good night. Lindsay, good night, man. Thanks for having me. And I'll look forward to your video tomorrow morning.
Well, yeah, thanks very much. We do have a regular Tools in the Hall video slated to come out tomorrow. All right, and cool. I want to thank everyone in the chat for joining us. It's always good to catch up with the regular crew, see some new names that jumped on and got involved. And thank you all very much. We're going to have, a new Tools in the Hall video today at 10 a.m. in the regular time slot. And then you'll see this stuff and more that you saw on this live stream in its own Tool Hall video, probably in the next week or two. And then we're going to be doing some air tool repair stuff because I have to repair I got to get a Chicago pneumatic air impact all put back together again. So I'll be doing the video on that one. And I thought too that now that we're doing soap, I was going to do a kind of a soap video. I don't know if that's going to be interesting to anybody, but at least get to see the process of what it's like to make soap. So be some different kinds of content in there, but we'll keep it rolling. So
that's a channel I miss, or a TV show. Do you remember that show, How It's Made?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I used to love that show. That was a really cool show.
That was a really cool show. It was very eye-opening to see how like mass production of something was done. It's really different. And when you're doing stuff by hand or you're doing small batch stuff or whatever it is, man, that changes when you get bigger, whether it's soap or cooking or food or whatever. I like cooking. My brother-in-law said to me, he says, "You ever want to like work in a restaurant?" I'm like, no. Like the fun's gone. I like making dinner for 4 people. I don't want to make dinner, for 6 hours for hundreds of people. That's not fun.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, we'll wrap it up. And my thanks again to everybody for joining us. We don't do the live streams that often, but when we do, it's great to see so many people jump on and get involved. And I appreciate everybody's input, all your perspectives, your questions, your comments. I love the side conversations that go on between everybody because it's a great way that we can all learn from each other. So see you later on this morning. And of course, the week's coming up. Look for our tool haul videos, air tool repair videos. I'll do a soap video. So we got a whole bunch of things coming down the line. So thanks very much for watching. Take care, everyone, and have a good night.
Da, 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 da.